Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Radar Show. Today, we're gonna actually have a debate between me and Herm about if John Stockton is a top 10 player in the 90s. I think it's a no-brainer, but I guess Herm's gonna come with a good argument whenever he gets ready. But first, we could talk about the NBA playoffs and what's going on. How y'all feel about the Knicks advancing?
Man, I don't think nobody could have called the Eastern Conference Finals as is. Nobody had New York Pacers. Nah.
That's
Well,
exactly what I said at the beginning of the season.
I actually did say the Pacers could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I actually said it on one of
They
the
were there
Sunday
last year?
shows. Yeah, I mean they
Yeah,
were there last year, and I don't have too much faith in the Cavs, so it was possible.
I
I
mean,
thought the Cavs was going to win 4-1, but
yeah. I
we
I thought it
mean,
was
didn't we
possible.
didn't think the Knicks would handle the Celtics like that, even with Tate injured. I mean,
They was
games
beating them with Tatum. Yeah,
they were beating with Tatum and like without home court advantage. So that's, I mean, whatever.
yeah,
Knicks look good.
they went to Boston and won two.
Yeah,
They won two in Boston, and they got them out the door. Game 6. They was like, we don't want to play no more in this series.
yeah, that was a slaughter.
I
Uh,
think it was a 38-point win at the end. Yeah,
Let's
they
go. Let's
destroyed
go
them.
Nuggets though. Let's go Game 7 Nuggets. Let's just have that happen.
Yeah, that's series a dogfight.
It
so
is
you got the
dogfight.
Nuggets. You got the Nuggets, Travis.
I don't think. I mean, especially if Aaron Gordon doesn't play, I don't think they'll win. It's on the road. The pressure's on the Thunder, but it really just depends. Like if Jamal Murray shows up again, but they're gonna have to have all the other contributions, like from Strother and Brown. Like all these guys are gonna step up huge, and obviously Jokic is gonna have to continue being the goat. But it's. I mean, they can do it. We'll see.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
yeah,
got
people don't.
OKC. I think OKC gonna win it. In.
Yeah, people don't
Yeah.
understand how important Eric Gordon is, but I guess
Yeah,
let's see if they can win without him. That's a
Yep.
big
Hey,
piece.
we got our first casual statement in the chat, boys, courtesy of Ismail. John Stockton is
Ishmael.
overrated. Facilitator and passers are overrated. Man, at some point we'll just have to educate this young man, but we've tried right for years.
yeah, but people don't realize how critical Aaron Gordon is to the team. He what glues everything together.
Yeah.
He is real important to that team, and if
And
he
like
ain't
I
able
said,
to play,
yeah, like I said last year, he's the reason that Denver won that series versus the Lakers.
he was the
I
reason.
think he was the reason.
Who,
He
John
def-
Stockton? No, I mean, yeah, obviously, but we'll see if Jokic could have like another Game 5 performance. He was good last game too, but yeah, he needs to. We'll see if Jade Williams doesn't show up again. We'll see, but it's gonna be a
yeah,
crazy game. Can't wait to watch it.
yeah, all eyes on that game. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
New York don't know how to act because they won their series.
I think Ishmael is trolling at the moment. I'm not sure. He's gonna have to come up here and explain himself,
I
but
think
I
he
think
is
he's
trolling.
trolling.
He has to be trolling.
He has to be trolling.
One guy who never trolls though is Danny Mac. That's gonna be hilarious. But oh, before we forget, guys, I know there was not a this for the chat. There was not a question last week, but we'll get back to that right now. This is just one I picked out of the ether. I think it's pretty easy, but we'll see if who's been paying attention. So our trivia question this week is okay. So if Jokic continues on here, and let's just say even if he doesn't make the finals, he'll probably still accomplish this. But he'll lead this playoffs in points, assists, rebounds, and steals. And if he does that, he'll just be the second person all time to have done that, led in all four of those categories in a single playoff run. Who was the only other player to do that, and what year? Gotta know.
The year is probably gonna be the tough part.
Mm-hmm. You think you? Don't
I'm
tell him.
trying to think of
Don't
it.
tell him.
I
Well,
think I
I
know.
already know some years it didn't happen, but I don't want to I don't want to cancel anything out because somebody might pick that year.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be. It's deceiving though, right? It's points, assists, rebounds, and steals. So one person leads in all, and that's totals we're talking about, right? So it's gonna be crazy. We'll see. I mean, obviously, I know the answer, but we're
Yeah,
gonna see.
because I just looked this up too, like maybe a couple months ago. So yeah, I forgot which year it was though.
I just heard it. Like I knew about it when it happened, and then like I was looking it up, and then I heard about it yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah. But we'll see who gets this question. But is Herm over here or not?
I don't see him in the chat, but whenever he comes around, like in an hour,
Shit.
he'll probably be coming.
Well, I mean, I was pretty busy. Otherwise, I would have reached out to him. But it's whatever. So we'll see. I think that's going to be a hell of a series tomorrow, or a hell of a game tomorrow. I mean, we all have OKC winning, right?
I go OKC winning,
I mean, I had him
especially
winning.
if Aaron Gordon don't play.
Yeah, I like had him winning, but I didn't think it was gonna go seven. And Jokic is battle tested, so we're gonna see what he can do in game seven.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, Danny Mac, that it's not Luca, but
Definitely not Luca.
no, it's not Luca. So here's the thing, though. Even if someone was to get it right, we want to make sure that you are able to participate with us and give us ideas for what you want us to discuss. If you want to come debate, and I know Danny Mac, you're not ever going to interact with us in Discord or Facebook, so we have no incentive to react to you at all, respond to you, because you're not going to help us along with the content. So I don't want to say fuck off, but like if you want to change that, then come on to our Discord and interact with us. Tell us what to do. Come up on the chat once in a while. So otherwise, we're just going to kind of disregard anything you say. This is for interactive members only. And no, Luka Doncic 2024. No, it's not him.
Who else? You know something? Who else playing in the West? They've been not playing that long. I forget who won their series in the
Who,
West.
T Wolves?
Yes, I'm over here thinking. I'm like, who else winning? Who else playing in the Western Conference Finals? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
T Wolves make quick. They got Golden State out the way, and I totally think Golden State need to relook their team because that is not a playoff team without Draymond. I mean, not without Steph Curry.
No, I
For
mean,
almost every
that's
team with a superstar in it.
Yeah, but they at least had Jimmy Butler there. It's not like they don't have another at least star there to play. I don't even think they're a playoff team without Steph.
I mean, they just made easy work of the Lakers with LeBron and Luka.
Yeah, they
So
did.
Jimmy and Draymond should not have beat her.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
I mean, I knew they matched up. It's crazy.
At least I like that Kaminga got to play, and He gonna make him a lot of money this summer. So
It's a weird question to ask.
Yeah, I do know the answer to my own question, sir.
That's funny.
And again, we're talking about totals here, not per game. This is, I think, when you're in the playoffs, this is a little bit more accurate than when you're talking about per game averages because this is a testament to you're going deep in the playoffs and you're also being consistent in the playoffs. Mm-hmm.
they really wanted to be Luca. Yeah,
They really do want it to be Luca.
Pacers, Knicks. How far is it going?
It's a mystery with those two teams. It is a mystery with those two teams. I have no idea.
It's funny because I can see either one of them sweeping the other. Then I can see it going seven, and then it's like, huh?
I mean, they match up so well with each other, though. I think. I
It
mean,
should be a good series.
yeah, I think I honestly I got the Pacers winning. They looked really good versus Cleveland. I get it, like Donovan Mitchell was having some issues there, but they were just able to take away so many of the things that they were doing right or well during the season. But I don't know. It's going to be a dogfight because I've been
Cleveland
saying
didn't
the
have
Knicks are
nobody
overrated.
healthy though either.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, there was a few players
It
missing.
will be a nice Timberwolves Nick final series. That'll be a pretty good finals.
That would be. At least they would have somebody watching the series if it was New York Timberwolves. If you get an Indiana OKC finals,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be
Oh
few of
yeah,
y'all watching that. But
what happened?
I'm just after saying if you get an OKC Pacers finals, um, then y'all can talk. People can talk about the ratings and how low the ratings are. Hey Johnny, how's your household with the Knicks being in the Eastern Conference Finals? That's crazy.
Oops, no, I said like you'll like when you see like that's the questions we'll get right. Like when you see like the Knicks and like let's say it's T Wolves Pacers or something. Like that's when you'll get the purists, right?
Yeah, you ain't gonna get the casual fans.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'll be like, oh, you hold yours, but then you'll get the people who actually know. So who actually want to see great basketball and be the two best teams.
Yeah, because what's gonna happen is if you want to talk about the finals with somebody, if those two teams to play in it, they wouldn't have no idea what to talk about because it's not like they can attack one individual. It's like they might not even know the starting lineup for each team. Most of them may say is what's his name overrated because of some. All right, man, gonna debate you no more,
Yep.
Brandon.
I guess if he shows up.
He gonna say he forgot.
No one to reach out to. Okay, what was your position going to be on that, Beely? Like it was going to happen, or no? That he was a top 10 player of all time.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's not. He says John Stockton was in a top 10 player in the '90s.
He says he was not.
Yes, Herm said he was not a top 10 player in the '90s,
Okay, when he
which is a
literally,
ridiculous claim. Was all star, all NBA almost every year.
And probably all defensive almost every year too. Probably.
Three time defensive player. I mean defensive team. So I don't know where he got that from. I'm interested to hear his argument about it.
Some people like the hot names, but they ain't paying attention to what's really going on. The rap guy, you right. Curry, KD, and LeBron draw them ratings. That's a fact.
that's
Because
true.
I don't care what nobody said. We already know who gonna get the prime time game on Christmas Day next season. It's gonna be the Lakers versus somebody. It may be Minnesota.
Pretty sure it's gonna be the Timberwolves. That's the hot team right now.
Yeah,
Even if they
that's why I said it's
even if they
probably be
lose.
Minnesota.
I mean, it really depends. I mean, we'll see what kind of crazy trades happen. Like, there's talk about
Side door unlocked. Side door open.
Giannis going to San Antonio. I mean, that would be insane.
I mean, why would somebody like Giannis want to go to San Antonio? They not even ready.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I think he's going to Houston personally.
I don't think he's going
But
either.
I
Side
mean,
I
door
mean,
Fox
locked.
and Wemby and Giannis will be kind of insane.
Yeah, it would be, but in another year or two.
I don't think so. I mean, young talent.
I mean, no doubt they got the young talent, but I mean, I
They
think
got
they're a
Casper
playoff
too.
team, but
they they will probably be the favorites.
no, he wouldn't be the favorite. But
I
from
mean,
what I
they.
was told, Giannis want to stay in the East. You keep hearing that go out there. He want to stay in the East.
No, he might. I mean, I think he just wants to get paid. I don't think he's going to stay in Milwaukee. There's no way. There's no way. Because he, I mean, he definitely wants to win another ring. He's not going to do it there. Their team's a mess next year.
Only team I see in the East who, even though they don't have anything to trade, is Miami. Pat Riley said he gonna retool, but he don't have anything. He don't have no assets.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Miami's done, and I don't think there's any other teams, other contenders that are willing to blow themselves up.
I mean, that's what you're gonna have to do to get a Giannis. You got to blow the team up.
Yeah. Exactly. And other well, blow the team up, or you got to have like a shitload of draft capital, right,
Giannis,
or
I mean,
something.
rap God, I think he's gonna stay in Milwaukee too. I don't think he's going nowhere because you're gonna have to blow up a team to get a Giannis. And I think he's staying in Milwaukee. I mean, when I heard that he would think about going somewhere, I didn't trust it because only team that got a lot of assets that you don't have to blow up the team is OKC and Houston. So, or Utah, you know, I don't want to go to Utah.
Mm.
He's gonna go to
Well,
Houston. He better stay in Milwaukee.
we'll see. I mean, it's really going to be dependent on what they try to do. I mean, I mean, depends who can offer the best bag or how how desperate he wants to win. I mean, he has his ring. He was the alpha on that ring. He knows that there's not going to be who's going to
But
build a dynasty this year.
with him, it's not about the money anymore
Yeah,
because he's gonna get top pay. It's about what Milwaukee would get in return. So
yeah. And
that's
Damian Lillard's going to retire, right?
I think he should
Yeah, he's done.
because you're gonna be out all the next year, and then when you come back, that's the final year of your contract at 60-some million dollars. I feel bad for Tatum though. I mean, that that injury is tough because what preventive things can you do to prevent that type of injury?
Man, I know. Sad part is he got to be out for a whole season.
Yeah, it's not like it's a 3-6 months injury and you'll be back.
Yeah, there's no point in rushing back
No,
as
it's
well. Look at KD tried to rush back and messed up his knee.
Mm-hmm.
no.
He,
Don't play. If I
he's
was him,
been
I would
injury
play
prone
all
ever
the next year.
since.
Yeah. Well,
Don't.
I wasn't going to do this, but it's like I said. I was trying to play fickle and coy because I hate when our question gets guessed like right off the bat. But like I said, this is only for people who are we know are going to show up, maybe go into our maybe come on live, chop it up with us, debate, give us content, go into our Discord or Facebook, give us things to chop up, move the show along. Not for people who never ever participate beyond just being a troll in the chat. So Danny Mac, we're erasing anything you've said because of those reasons. You're just a troll, and we're giving it to Lamar Jack because he did say it, and you guessed it. It was Luca last year, and yeah, we'll see if Jokic can replicate that. So good job, and I got to find one that's a little less easy to Google next time for
you
these
you
people.
said it was a pretty easy one.
I did. I said it was a pretty easy one. It's kind of a low hanging fruit. Uh, but anyway, I'm trusting you here, Lamar Jack, to come into our Discord and come in. Sorry, Dynamic, you brought it upon yourself, man. I mean, you refused to communicate with us. You refused to come on the show. You refused to go into our Discord. This is just you being a troll all the time. You're just a one sided like argument. Like yeah, you really just don't even like bring anything to show besides like arguments and bad takes. Like if you were a little bit more vocal with us, that's fine. Lamar Jack does come on, but anyway, Lamar Jack, come on if you want to tell us what to talk about, what to debate. Come into our Discord, okay, and chop it up with us. You definitely are a troll, Danny. How are you not a troll? you just your whole shtick is just being anti LeBron hate. There's no like middle ground with you. It's just
Oh,
anti LeBron all the time. Pro Jordan. you're incapable of being unbiased.
well, God, he got injured, so I think he. What year he get drafted? 94. He was my favorite player too, but he got hurt.
93.
93. So
Hmm.
yeah, he had played the 93-94 season, right?
Yeah. Well, Penny was a four-time All-Star and a what, three-time All-NBA player. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of players who surpassed that, even though he was
Yeah,
great. He just
yeah,
got
he was
hurt.
great. He got hurt.
Like
That's
just like
oh,
John Hill. Just got hurt.
yeah.
So I sent Herm a message on. I sent Herm a message just now, and we'll see what happens. I doubt he's gonna respond to me. Herm ducking the smoke per usual.
Rap God, like Penny Hardaway. I was like, I had to try to. I used to try to play like Penny. Um, so I loved him as a player. Everything he did because he was such a good passer. He could score. Uh, he really know how to control the game. Uh, I still, even though he put up buckets, I still felt like he was a pass first point guard. Uh, Super athletic, tall, skinny. I love his game. He just got hurt. Team Speech, what's wrong with talking about the 90s? I like to talk about every era. And some people who say they don't want to talk about the 50 or 60s is another sport. I like to talk about all eras. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't talk about all the eras, then what are we doing here? I mean, we're just can't. You'll just be like people who only talk about one player, one aspect of the game, and that's not going to move anything along. So there's the link, Lamar, for Discord. So feel free. We need you to. So Lamar, this is the thing. We're trying to get people into this. You can either tell us a topic that you want us to cover, and we'll chop it up, or you can challenge one of us to a debate on something. Those are your two options there. It's fun either way. But it looks like since Herm is not going to show up here, hasn't communicated with us all week, um, I'll ask B. Lee, make your case, man. Maybe we can give you some pushback on it, but I happen to agree with you on that topic.
He 100 against Chat GPT. So don't nobody want to go against Brandon right now.
GPT is ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it's impressive, but they're really limited until you start for them.
All right, Lamar, pick a top. That's cool.
No, Danny Mac, you're right. Like Brandon and Johnny are always pro LeBron all the time. They don't pretend otherwise. But at least they're up here talking about their points verbally. Unlike yourself, we can respect them because they never ever duck the smoke. They won't hide behind their keyboard. They'll get up here and debate you personally. So that's the
One
difference.
one thing I don't like when people say
It's,
people are
it's
pro.
funny from people who is pro Jordan talking about someone's
Yes,
pro LeBron.
that's what that's literally about to say. I mean, you got to think for years it was heavy Jordan, heavy. Somebody started talking about LeBron. It's like, I can't believe y'all doing that. Like that.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing though. Also, the difference they make is that if you've seen their criteria, everyone's criteria is invalid if you have to like list negatives about players or knock players in order to elevate the other. Their resumes, if you have a decent criteria, should like these players' resumes should stand on their own, and you should rank them accordingly. I know you are one of those guys who holds things against LeBron and then knocks him, but your energy doesn't extend to other players. That's why we can't take it seriously when you talk about the GOAT debate or your ranking debate because none of us do that. We don't say, okay, he did this and that, but he felt here. That's not a way because unless your criteria is only dependent on that and factors that doesn't matter. But so many of you trolls only have that energy for LeBron. That's it. Like everyone's failed, but you rank them based on their accomplishments. I don't know why that's so hard to understand at all. Like, you know,
Oh, I got be right there. I gotta keep whining about I don't know what.
And then most of y'all criteria are aimed to make LeBron not top three. And then once you put it in chat and GPT, a lot of times y'all making LeBron the GOAT.
well, that's what it is. I mean, like when you're not biased and like when you bring all the totality of LeBron's resume to bear, it's hard to not say he's the goat because you'd have to be. It's the same thing with the Kobe debates, right? The only way you can elevate Kobe to like a top five, top two position is by ignoring
Basketball.
certain basketball parts of his resume when compared to other players who are above him. We heard it on the debate with me and King's speech. He didn't bring one basketball fact to support Kobe over LeBron, not even one. Go back and listen. He talked about context and the system, not one basketball reason though at all. That's why it's tough to debate that when your entire reasoning depends on ignoring chunks of what they did. So that's it. No, you don't. So King Speech, if you're going to list negatives, then you have to do that with every single player, and then you have to weigh those negatives. And I guarantee you will never ever have a list that does that and factors that in.
I keep telling them LeBron taught them basketball.
Yeah. Also, yes, guys. I'm actually going to be debating Dark from Michael Jordan Fans of the Best on 9 p.m. over there at on Fridays. We're doing some stuff like that, just some generic stuff. Come over and check that out too. That'll be fun. Um, and I don't know exactly how it's to work right now. Like we're gonna have other people to kind of round robin stuff, but getting back to this, it's like we, like I said, if you guys want to list negatives, guys, then I want to see your criteria that has negatives listed in there. And what are negatives to you? Just finals losses? If
I
it's
mean,
more than
they
that,
make a list negative. It's just how are you measuring those negatives?
exactly. Like what's it? How does that weigh their positives? I
Yeah,
don't think that you can do that. That's
yeah.
stupid.
Like if you listen finals losses, what do you do with first round losses? Like, are they like how are those weighted?
Yeah. Does that mean Hakeem Olajuwon's not like a top 50 player because he lost in the finals, like or lost in the first round like eight times? Like that's stupid.
Got to think most people don't pay attention to that at all, and they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I do when I listen to somebody like give their top 10, and then when they break down LeBron's career, people really knows LeBron's career,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't even know their favorite player's career like that.
You see, here's a comment right here. So King's Speech says he's referencing LeBron's one LeBron game from 2008, right? He doesn't want to talk about. I mean, and I agree, it wasn't LeBron's best game, but he's going to do things like he'll ignore LeBron's overall playoff performances. He'll ignore his overall finals performances. They'll pick and choose what fits their narrative, and they won't do the same for like guys they support. That's why you can't take them seriously.
I mean,
Like you
Jordan
don't.
was 3 for 18 in a game in the playoffs.
Yeah,
That doesn't hurt him.
yeah. What was Kobe in Game 7 of 2010? Kobe shot like
Or
six for like
six for
24.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, that don't hurt him.
Kobe shot like 25%, and he only won because guys were hitting huge shots, and Pau Gasol was amazing. But nobody wants to talk about that because it doesn't matter.
And I'm telling you, they don't know. They don't
They don't
know.
know other players. You know,
They
they
don't
don't
know
know
other
other
players.
places.
They
Mm-hmm.
don't. I mean, I really do listen to people when they talking about it. They don't be knowing at all. They have no idea. They keep up with LeBron's career. It matters to them.
Oh, okay. So Herm says I will be there in 30 minutes, and that was 9 minutes ago.
Trust me. Listen.
Okay, so Herm says he'll be here in 30 minutes, and that was 9 minutes ago. So, and he's like, "Oh, you told me last minute." I'm like, "Bro, we told you last
Side door
week
open.
I mean, he
exactly."
said it. He the one who called it out.
Yeah, I was like, "Herm, this is what time our show is, Saturday."
I
Anyway,
mean,
he says he'll be here.
who even mentioned John Stockton? I don't remember mentioning Stockton. He the one who was talking about it.
I forget how that
What we're originally talking about, Reggie Miller or something like that.
I don't know. All I know, he was saying he wasn't a top 10 player in the 90s. Like, yes, he was.
yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's a debate, but I guess I'll see what crap he got to say. I mean, it's well, easy win. Well, let's see what type of argument he can make. I'm
Yeah.
interested.
And see, King Speech, this is like why you lost that debate so terribly,
Side
King Speech,
door
because you're
locked.
not bringing basketball reasons. And like I said, you're picking and choosing what supports your narrative. You're saying bad games, but if we look at the totality of their playoff performances, he blows Kobe away in regular or postseason and finals performances. It's not close. And like you're just talking about a couple of bad games. It's not going to be enough to push the envelope, dude. Because I guarantee you, Kobe has been way trashier than LeBron in any measurement you want to pick up. But again, if you want to start winning debates, you're literally going to have to do better than that because people, when they're listening to you, judges, people who know basketball, they can see right past when you cherry pick things that specifically fit your narrative, and like want to dodge resumes, and that's exactly what you do.
I mean,
So
don't he has LeBron as a GOAT, right? So I don't know why he's talking.
no, he does not.
No, he does. We saw his criteria.
Oh yeah. His criteria, yeah. I don't think he personally thinks
Yeah,
it, but his criteria does.
I
Yes.
mean, he has to hit this criteria. He's the GOAT. So I don't know why he's talking. I mean, there's no way to escape that. He thinks LeBron James is the greatest basketball player ever.
I mean, most of the evidence says that's the case.
Hey, King's speech. I ain't gonna even
That's
argue
that's
with
his evidence. That's what he said. That's his criteria.
you. Yeah, I can't even argue with you, King. I agree with you, LeBron to go.
I
Now he's trying
mean,
to talk about Kobe.
I don't need
I
that,
mean,
that
he's
kind of.
always trying to talk about Kobe, even though he lost that debate like so fucking terribly,
It was
because
it was terrible, and
that was one of the
Brandon being
easiest.
nice trying to get him around. I mean, I don't. I mean, I didn't see it
Yeah,
around.
Brandon, what was that, man? Were you drunk?
So what?
No, it says you gave him a round versus me. Ridiculous.
I say he got happy since he was getting swept. He let him out one out of the 10 votes.
No, I mean,
No. Yeah, I mean, you better come something harder than what you had last time, King Speech, because that was pathetic, dude. I mean, I love Kobe too, but I could have argued way better for Kobe than you did, man. Like you listened no basketball things at all. You were just talking about things like you were using terminology like context, what Shaq said. You know, you didn't use anything of like anything objective, no tangibility. It was just your opinion, and it was things that you perceived. It wasn't stats, it wasn't results, it wasn't things we can measure, it wasn't anything to do with the resumes, because we all know that LeBron clears Kobe and everyone else. And I mean, Kobe's barely top 10, bro. So yeah.
I mean, you can really like Kobe and love his game and
Mhm.
think he one of the greatest players ever to play the game because I believe he is all that.
Yeah.
He's just not on a level of players like
No,
Jordan
he's
and
not.
LeBron. I mean, and that's the end of the conversation. That's cool. That don't it's no insult to Kobe at all. He's great.
I mean, it's obvious he even has LeBron as a GOAT with his criteria, so
Yeah, he
it's
does.
fine. You even have LeBron over Kobe with what you measure greatness with. So you're arguing against yourself. You need to go look in the mirror and tell yourself that you need to make up a new criteria. If you
Yeah,
want a new
I don't
criteria,
have a
just put it in the
criteria.
chat. It's fine. It's fine. Because the one you have is LeBron James.
Yeah, and Noah, Johnny, Herm. I mean, Herm kind of stood us up, but he says he'll be here in like 20 minutes because he says he forgot or whatever. But we told him, but I just messaged him. So yeah, Kings Beach.
How you gonna ask for a debate and then be an hour late?
King's Speech. If you want to, bro, listen. Just so Kobe isn't like because Kobe's my second favorite player, right? And to see how dirty you did him by your complete lack of understanding about how great a player Kobe was, and like your complete inability to argue for him. Like I challenge you at some point. You can pick any other player, and I will argue Kobe Bryant. I may not win because there are players that are better than him, but I can argue him a hell of a lot better than you did, like
Just
easily.
don't use LeBron,
I
okay?
don't think he can argue for any other player. So I think he only knows about LeBron James.
No. And this is tell me if I'm wrong, guys. And I said this in the debate, but Kobe versus LeBron is the only player comparison I can think of where one player clears the other player in everything. I mean everything. Stats,
Even head to
impact
head.
on
Even
winning,
head to head.
analytic, head to head too. Yeah, analytics,
That's not
totals,
even fair. I mean,
accolades, and achievements.
I don't even
Yeah.
think it's a fair. I don't think it's fair. And I used to tell people all the time. I don't like arguing Kobe versus LeBron because I don't think it's fair, and I do, and I really do believe I don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
And
No, I mean it's ridiculous. It's not fair at all. It's not a fair, and like this isn't a knock on Kobe Bryant, guys. It just you shouldn't compare him to players who are objectively greater. Now, if you want to make the comparison that there were certain aspects that Kobe was better at, like I mean, what footwork or back to
he shot
basket game, then
he
sure.
shot
But
he
like
shot
when you
he shot free
sure
throws better. That's what
exactly
he should have went 3 rounds and talked about free throw shooting. That's what he should have did.
yeah. But if you're talking about like things that matter and things that happen on the court, there's no argument you're going to make. Not from an accolades perspective or stats. So you put those away. Not from a measurement on winning. We can all the stats, everything that you want to talk about, even non-statistical things like LeBron is still a way better winner than Kobe Bryant.
I
And
mean,
so I mean, there's no argument.
I tell people all the time when Kobe was supposed to be the best player in the league in his prime, he the best player on the Lakers. LeBron was winning the MVPs.
Yep.
That's when Kobe was supposed to be challenging Jordan
Mm-hmm.
and saying
Yeah.
who's the best player. And at the time, Kobe thought he was going to be challenging Jordan. LeBron was saying, I'm the best player right now. You can't be better than Jordan if I'm better than you right now.
Right.
That's,
You say Kobe locked up Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller can't even dribble a basketball,
Yeah.
but he
When he
didn't let
locked
him
it.
shoot threes.
Yeah, wasn't it like year 15 Reggie Miller? Like, and also King's Beach, like you're telling us that you've already admitted publicly that stats and accolades have nothing to do with your criteria. So your criteria is already invalid. Anything you say past that, you're ignoring the totality of players' career just based on your personal preference. So you can't really argue with that and like talk to no one's gonna ever agree with you. And like if you have it in your personal mind, echo chamber that he's better than great, but you can't argue that and make it stick in a way that makes any sense or is unbiased because you're just ignoring the game of basketball altogether.
most of them ignore the game of
It's-
basketball anyway.
That's true.
Are you saying that this is a negative that LeBron missed the playoffs and it hurts him with the Lakers?
And Kobe's
I
missing the playoffs in
mean,
his prime.
does that hurt him or something?
No. Yeah, you did, King Sweep. Ah.
I thought
And he also won a championship and went to the Western Conference Finals also one year.
LeBron only missed the playoffs once with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Kobe missed
Yeah.
the playoffs his last 3 years, right? If I'm wrong.
Yeah. And, you know, here the fact also that LeBron, the thing that makes LeBron the GOAT is no other player in NBA history can say that they were the best player on their team or even a top 10 player in the league past what? Past year 12 with Kareem, right? Like Kareem had an argument for the best player in what, 81 maybe? 82? Like Braun, and that's the year Braun was doing it for the better part of 22 years. I mean, was he the best player undisputably the last 5 years? No. I mean, I could say that maybe he was in 2020. He was very good last year or a couple year 2022. But you're saying like no other players can make that. Like it's about consistency. He's making all NBA teams when he's 40. He'll definitely be second team this year, right? So I mean, there's no other player that compares to that. Michael Jordan, not Kareem, definitely not Kobe Bryant. I
Man,
mean,
you talking
it's
about someone missing the playoffs. Look at Michael Jordan the last couple of years and Kobe Bryant's last, what, 4 years?
yep,
Like, what are you talking about?
exactly.
Like, do you know
And
anybody other than LeBron?
no, and this is all the thing. Stats and records matter. It's not the first thing you look at. Then that's stupid. King speech. If you don't look at what they did on the court, then what are you looking at? And plus, all these things that you're saying aren't ways of elevating Kobe over anyone else. You're just picking and choosing little parts of their career. That's why you'll always get destroyed. Like I should have had someone else handle my lightweight.
At King's Speech, you should say LeBron came out of high school. That's why his numbers better. You should have said that.
Kobe was not a better
Yeah,
scorer, not a better defender, not more clutch, not more versatile. Like all these things have been debunked. Anyway, go watch a debate. I soundly debunked all those. Higher IQ, by what mentioned, like you're just saying these things. Better teammate. See, that's the thing that Daddy Mac highlight that comment, Brendan. Kobe was a better scorer, better. He was not by any measurement any of those things. LeBron is the far more effective scorer. LeBron is the better defender. We can prove that.
He
Better
said
leader. What?
he's a better. He said better teammate. Ask Mush Parker.
Yeah.
I don't
More
think no
clutch.
one would
Nope.
say. But
More
Smush Parker.
versatile.
Smush
I mean,
Parker
he
did
got
a
everything
whole.
wrong.
Everything is wrong. LeBron's the
I
most
mean, how
versatile player
can
in NBA history.
how can you get everything wrong about Kobe Bryant versus LeBron? Every single thing.
Danny Mac, you're correct if that was opposite world.
And what? Yeah. And what alternate universe is he talking about?
I remember
What?
the one game winner Kobe has in the playoffs was versus Phoenix, and they was up 3-1 in the series and lost.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a game win. He got one game win in the playoffs. That versus Phoenix. They went up 3-1 and lost. You don't want to talk about that game 7, do you?
No.
I don't
Yeah.
like doing that because I don't think it's necessary. I mean, LeBron's better than Kobe in the conversation. How the conversation with something is. I
Yeah.
think the better conversation is Kobe and Duncan. How that
That's a really good conversation. Great
I mean, the
conversation.
thing is, like, they played in the same time. LeBron outplayed him head to head, career wise. They even played together on the USA team. LeBron
was the better
was
player.
just better.
Yep.
Like we saw all of it against each other, total career against. I mean, different teams, teammates, head to head. Like, what else do we need to see?
Nothing.
That's one of the easiest debate to have because what makes the Jordan LeBron harder argument sometimes is that they didn't play together. They didn't play versus each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The eras didn't bump head. I mean, we
Yep.
can tell the difference between Kobe and LeBron. They played. Kobe
Yep.
was supposed to be the man to be in his prime. Didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like I said,
16 to
it's
6. 16 to 6. It's
yeah.
16 to 6 head to head. And 3 of those wins Kobe had was his first 2 matchups, LeBron rookie year. That's when Shaq was there. Then he won the next matchup the next season. And from that point on, LeBron went 16-3 head to head versus Kobe.
LeBron won 4 MVPs while Kobe was still in his prime.
That's what I was saying.
Like what?
And I want you to know he won 4 and 5
yeah,
years.
Kobe was winning
Yeah.
rings while LeBron was winning awards. I mean, Kobe won 2 rings while LeBron was in the league. LeBron won 3 while Kobe was in the league.
Yeah. Like what's your? I mean, what's the argument?
I mean,
And Kobe
if you
wasn't. Kobe
counting
wasn't
Shaq
even the
rings
best
before
player.
LeBron came in the league, that's what he's talking about.
Kobe
LeBron was
wasn't
even in
even
the
the
league
best
when
player
Shaq
on
was
this.
winning those.
Like
So
I said, Kobe's the only guy that we consider top 10, right? That didn't win a Finals MVP his first 3 rings. Nobody else can say that we consider a top 10 player. Was Kobe good for a lot of those playoffs? Sure. Was he LeBron good? Nope. Like Kobe had some standout
it
performances. Great. That's why he's an
it
all-time
literally
great.
took Kobe Bryant 6 finals to win an Finals MVP.
Yeah, exactly. It took yeah,
I never thought about that, but I mean, it's facts. We just said I never thought about it, but that's exactly
It
what it
took him
did.
6 finals to win a Finals MVP.
yep,
6.
exactly. Who else gets that kind of leniency here, King Speech, when we're talking about the goats, right? That's not a
No,
negative.
nobody.
That's that's another. We would have crucified Magic Johnson, right? If
We
Kareem
would have
was still winning.
crucified LeBron James if it took him 6 finals to win a
Yep,
Finals MVP.
yep. If we like, what if Kareem was still winning Finals MVPs in 1988 and Magic had none? what would we say? Magic was not a top 10 player, probably, or at least you would. That's such a ridiculous take. Like it's just, it
And
means you're
Lamar,
not the league dog on your
Titles to be
and
team.
the
Lamar
best player
Jackson.
in the
I
finals.
agree with you. I think Paul Gasol was the Finals MVP in 2010.
So do I,
Oh,
hundred
he
percent.
definitely was. He definitely was Finals MVP. But it's Kobe. They had to give it to him.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, Kobe is going to win because he was taking like 25 shots a game, and he was definitely going to lead that team in scoring. There's no doubt about that. But Pau Gasol was more efficient. He was a better defensive player, better rebounder. He set the table. They don't sniff the finals without Pau Gasol.
I mean, they definitely don't win it without him outplaying Kevin Garnett.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right. He
exactly.
was right at KG too.
Yep. Yep. Probably one of the better defensive series we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So you feed a big man who has a child on him, whatever that means.
Kobe being the better team allowed Shaq to allowed. Yeah, he allowed him because Shaq was the better player and far more dominant. He was a better scorer. Like you were not going to take over. Kobe's not going to take over and have similar success. That just doesn't happen.
How can they keep making an excuse for teammates outperforming them? I just don't understand this. Like Shaq outperformed Kobe Bryant in the finals 3 times.
Yeah.
LeBron outperformed Kobe Bryant as a teammate
Actually, he
in
outperformed in the
3
finals 4
different
times. Honestly,
USA tournaments. Yeah, actually, 4 because Kobe Bryant's the reason they lost the other
yeah.
one because he went past
Kobe
the ball.
Bryant decided to play outside of that and choke away the
He
04
wa- he
finals.
wanted the Finals MVP that bad. That's how bad. That's how important it was to get the Finals MVP. That he was going to cost his team a title if he didn't win it.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
he wanted to be in the GOAT conversation. So he lost them the finals because he wanted to have a GOAT conversation. Bro, you was gonna be in the conversation regardless if y'all go ahead and win that 4th championship. Come on now.
Man, imagine if Shaq has 4 Finals MVPs. I mean, we're having a. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a
that's a
different
different
conversation.
conversation.
It's a different conversation about
Different
Shaq.
conversation. So
I don't think. Do you think Shaq still get traded after that year?
not if he wins the Finals MVP. They might let Kobe go that time.
Dude, and
They
I
might
wanted
let
to
Kobe
say
go.
it. I wanted to say it, but I didn't have the guts to say it because I wanted to say they may let Kobe go if they win that championship.
Side door unlocked. Side door open.
I
Especially
mean,
Shaq was
why
Finals
not?
MVP.
Shaq had another couple good years on him. They could have brought another serviceable guard in there
I
or
mean,
another stretch forward.
they would have got somebody for Kobe. I think
Yeah.
Kobe was a free agent. I think he was a
Yeah.
free
In
agent.
order for Kobe to
So
win,
Kobe's still out.
Kobe's one of those players who needs very specific things to happen for him to win. He needs a dominant inside presence. He needs a great defensive team. He needs the best coach of all time. Okay. And so, like, when you have those things, yeah, they can win. They get to the finals, blah, 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 blah. Shit, Pau Gasol is maybe the most underrated player in NBA history, top 10 at least. I mean, and yet you want to talk, okay, Danny, you want to talk about Pau Gasol? Pau Gasol shot almost 50% from the field in that 2010 NBA Finals. Led the team in rebounds, uh, blocks, and almost tied with Kobe with 4 assists apiece. How sad is that? Like your big man is matching your guy who has much higher usage percentage and assists, and he's way more efficient. 18, almost 12, 2.5 blocks a game, and 4 assists on almost 50% shooting. Kobe shot 40% for that series. Okay, so I mean, was Kobe good? Yeah, great, but Pau Gasol was. I mean, he definitely deserved Finals MVP there for sure.
Has there ever been a player who was not like statistically better than his teammates and people say he was better? I know they could say Bill Russell, but he averaged like 25 boards a game, 10 blocks and 10 steals.
I mean,
But
Bill
has there
Russell
ever been
showed
a
his
player?
value.
Yeah,
About
has there ever been a player that has been statistically outplayed by a teammate that people say is better? Can y'all
I'm
think of a
thinking,
player?
nah.
Uh, the player. You mean all time or during those runs?
Just doing runs.
And Danny Mac, what's your point? And Kobe Bryant was taking like 8 more shots a game than Pau Gasol, dude. Like your total shot was 163 to 90. for the whole series, of course he's going to score more. Powell was more efficient, better defensively, and the best player on that team that year. Kobe was the engine, of course.
And Kobe still
So
almost shot them
So
out of
it's
that
like it's
series.
like Lamar said. I guess
exactly.
Scotty's better than Jordan then.
I mean, it's just a ridiculous argument. I mean,
Kobe, he said Kobe
It's
was the
funny.
engine of their offense. No, Kobe and Paul doesn't
Kobe
sleep.
was the no. I said Powell. I said Powell shoots close to 50% in the finals, which he did. He was like 48%. Kobe shot 40. Kobe was horrible. That's what you do with
This doesn't make
LeBron,
any
King's Speech.
sense. You just said LeBron needs 4 All-Stars to be great, but all of a sudden it's a double standard with Kobe, who has been outplayed by his teammates. He went to the finals 7 times. He outplayed everybody once. He won 3 gold medals. He never outplayed LeBron James in those 3 gold medals. So out of
Nope.
10 tournaments, he was the best player once.
Yep. I mean, if you the only argument you that I would listen to about that is if they, I mean, maybe if they would have won in 2011, and like even though, and the numbers were the same there, then Dwayne Wade would have been Finals MVP, but that didn't happen. 2020, LeBron was definitely the best player on that team in the finals. Regular season, different story, but he was probably still the best. But I mean, there's no argument. Like he was not when they won the chip. There was no argument for him not being the lead dog. You can't say the same thing about Kobe.
And in 2020, and I said this before, I think LeBron should have been MVP, league MVP.
He was
He
second, right?
should've-
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he
second.
should have been MVP.
He was second. Because I always give an excuse because of the pandemic, but I still feel like LeBron should have won MVP that season.
Yeah. And Danny Mac, you're telling me you just tell me that you didn't actually watch that series. I watched that series multiple times. Uh, and Pau Gasol created plenty of his own shots. He was great at posting up. Like, did he get the ball down low? Sure, but it's not like he was just getting layups and dunks the entire time. Go back and watch that. Educate yourself.
I mean, Jordan said Rodman was the key to winning a championship too. That doesn't mean Rodman's better than Jordan. I mean,
Hmm.
we all need a Bruce Bowens. That's what Kobe Bryant played. That Bruce Bowen role.
Didn't they
Yep.
say Draymond Green was the key to Golden State winning 4 championships?
Yeah, and he's clearly not better than Steph Curry. He averaged 9 points a game for his career, like 5 assists and 6 rebounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you was probably eating it up, waiting to say that. Well, LeBron said Kobe was the key to the Redeem team. You've been waiting to say that, haven't you?
He definitely was. It's just so funny. Like it just made me like realize how far I've come from like hearing the narratives that we're on. Obviously, you hear being just a hardcore Jordan as the GOAT guy, not a necessarily Jordan fan, but then like you see all these terrible takes about LeBron and these guys' ranking system, and see like King's Beach. It's hard to take you seriously because you still don't have like your top 10 list that you were fumbling around and that B Lee was exposing you when you were listing it entirely because you said, oh, that's a great point. Let me think about that. You were shuffling around. You didn't have a solid criteria. You were basically getting embarrassed,
I,
and it happened when we debated too.
I just got one question, and I don't know the answer. Kobe was drafted in '96, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't he on the Dream Team before 2008?
He wasn't a team player. Nobody wanted him. He was selfish.
Well, here's a question too. What is there another top 10 star that we think about who wasn't the best player on their team for the first half of their career?
No. I mean, that's why I always say Kobe has a bad argument for top 10. Because if
Yep.
you want to nitpick LeBron, you can really nitpick Kobe. And it's a tough argument because people who's been the guy on their teams from day one would say, well, he got 7 8 years to get good and be the best player, and you had to trade away somebody to make him the best player.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, yeah, nobody else gets that leniency, right? Shaq, best player out of the jump. Argue. I mean, you could say the same thing about Magic to a degree. I mean, I'd say second, third year Magic. Mike, best player from the jump. I mean, Duncan, same thing. Larry Bird, same thing. Who else? I mean, Curry, same thing. Hakeem, definitely the same thing.
LeBron was the best player, and he was coming from high school.
Yep. LeBron, 100%. LeBron like got MVP votes his first year.
I mean, the thing is, like, you could say a lot of things to knock LeBron James down to maybe third all time, but you can't say enough to make Kobe Bryant in the top five.
No, you can't.
Exactly.
There's not enough to go around to make him a top five player. The only thing you could say about Kobe is like he's maybe the a top five player that I have seen play basketball. That's about all. But you can't put him above a lot of players that you didn't even see play because of what their career panned out to be. Like you
Yeah.
cannot put him above Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And what's funny about that is like whenever you say, okay, well, what about this? They say, well, I don't look at that. Like when you talk about stats or accolades, achievements, or impact on winning, things that matter. They're like, well, I don't look at that first. See if King Speed's talking about certain games they played or who they played. He doesn't talk about. You're not talking about things that that actually matter that you can look up and be like, oh, cool, and compare these players. And so it's like that's just why it's disingenuous. You're ignoring 90% of a player's resumes in order to prop Kobe Bryant up. It's ridiculous. Oh, there's Herm. I have
Oh,
20 minutes.
he said Kings. He said Kobe
I
had three
mean,
rings.
I
Got
don't know
23.
how much he think he's gonna get by trying to debate John Stockton, but I mean, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like 2, 3 minutes.
That mean how many rings Derek Fisher have in that same time?
Yeah,
I mean,
Herm has more, or yes, Jared Fisher has more playoff wins than Kobe. Is he a better winner than Kobe?
he got the same amount of rings.
Yeah.
Yep, he does. Like, tell us what you're looking at, quote unquote. Oh, there's Herm trying to duck all the smoke.
Man, why I'm a Doug for, I was called in to work, man. That's why you got to hit somebody up in the middle of the week to say, hey, we still doing this or doing that. So I could have
Bro, I
worked
told
around.
you first thing on Saturday.
Yeah, that's last Saturday, man. Things could pop up in 7 days.
This is your
You're
priority
the one
account.
who asked for this. You're the one who asked to lose a debate that's easy.
This going
There's
to be
no.
easy work. This going to be easy
All
work.
right, all right, go
That's
go
it.
ahead. We're waiting for you to make your case.
Okay, do you want to go
But
first or second, Herm?
it don't matter. It don't matter. I
You,
mean,
you go
John,
ahead first since you're short on time.
well, with John Stockton, the reason I don't consider him top 10, these are one of the reasons. A lot of the reasons why he had a lot of success, a lot of people don't like to point out, was due to illegal defense. The reason why I say illegal defense, the pick and roll that him and Karl Malone had was basically unstoppable due to the fact that you couldn't play in drop coverage. You couldn't play in zone to deviate the pick and roll. You couldn't have anybody waiting for Karl Malone when he was rolling to the basket. So they got a lot of easy baskets, with easy to accessible that pick and roll. And then it benefits the mid range guys, and Stockton was effective for the mid range. So unfortunately, due to how you basically had to be basically 1 foot away from your man, basically to play man and ball. Basically, you really couldn't all the way commit to it. It was very hard to stop pick and rolls at that time. So a lot of the numbers that we see that they got, especially with John Stockton and Karl Malone, was due to the fact that Jerry Sloan, a great coach, took advantage of the illegal defense rule and basically made that pick and roll unstoppable in the 90s. Um, another factor with John Stockton, he never was a number one guy. Um, he was basically a number two, and you can name several guys in the 90s like Clyde Drexler, in which his peak was higher than John Stockton, finishing second in MVP in 1991-1992 season, and also being a contributor to the Houston Rockets and repeating in 1995, basically being a significant piece during the trade deadline, being an effective number two as well. So to me, when you look at the top 10, Obviously, you got your bigs in there with Shaq, David Robinson, um, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. Then you got your Jordans, your Scotties, Karl Malone. Karl Malone is in that conversation. Charles Barkley in that conversation. Gary Payton in that conversation. The guy in Gary Payton, in which made more all defensive first teams, which made more all first team all NBAs. And he was the number one guy in Seattle. He was the number one option as well by having to being the best defender, by him actually winning the Defensive Player of the Year, showcasing that he was the best defender at the point guard position in the 90s. And he had more significant responsibility than John Stockton because John Stockton had the crutch to lean on with Karl Malone, which was the best player on the team. So when you look at certain peaks, a guy like Penny Hardaway peaked higher than John Stockton in the 90s due to the fact he finished third in the MVP voting during his short stint. He only played 6 years in the 90s, but he was very polarizing. Still made more first team All NBAs than Stockton as well, and was a guy that was a significant threat to the Chicago Bulls when Jordan came back, put him out due to his significant play on both ends of the court. Playing at a superstar level, was one of the rising stars in the league before injuries hindered him. When you look at guys like Reggie Miller, yes, when you look at the analytics, Stockton got him. But when you look at Reggie Miller, he still was able to lead teams, lead his team to a lot of success. Um, Actually gave the Chicago Bulls the hardest competition in 1998 by forcing them to a game save. Even Michael Jordan said himself that was the toughest test in the 90s. And Reggie Miller, as a number one guy, was significantly greater than John Stockton ever been, because John Stockton never had the opportunity to be a number one. So when you look at that aspect, despite of the assist numbers, despite of him basically being amongst the steal leaders and things of that nature, by him being the number two, by him not having significant higher peaks than certain players in the 90s, to me, he's outside of the top 10, probably between 11 and 13 in the 90s, due to guys being better. And most definitely, when you look at the borderline, if I had to choose who had a better peak and a better 90s, it would be Clyde. I'd say Clyde Drexler over John Stockton, and that's the difference, man. I could just roll with Clyde, and everybody else that's before the other nine that's before those guys are more solidified than John Stockton.
Before you get off, what's your top 10 90s guys? Since you said Clyde is the 10th one, who's the other nine?
My top 10 guys in the 90s: Michael Jordan, of course, Akeem Olajuwon, Karl Malone, Scottie Pippen, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Patrick Ewing, Gary Payton, and then Clyde Drexler as my number 10 guy. And then
Okay.
yeah, then I go with John Stockton. John Stockton at 11. I really wanted to put Penny over him, but Penny didn't play as many games, and plus he got hurt. Basically, after 1997, he wasn't the same guy, so I can't put Penny over him. Even though I knew Penny peak wise was better, but he just didn't sustain a long term with Stockton, so I can't put him over Stockton. But yeah, I got those 10 over John Stockton.
Okay. All right. All right. So we're talking about the 90s. So we're talking about the whole decade of the 90s. So when we talk about the 90s, we have to include everything. So you're saying that the pick and roll was one of the reasons why John Stockton is not a top 10 player, even though everybody in the 90s played by the same rules. So that doesn't make any sense. Everyone's playing by the same rules. So it's not like they played in different eras. So John Stockton and the illegal defense and their pick and roll, it's kind of hard to say that that's a negative in the 90s when they played in the 90s. And then another thing you said was he was a second um, a number two guy, but you have Scottie Pippen in your top 10. Doesn't make any sense. Um, and and then you said Gary Payton has more All NBA first teams in the 90s, which he doesn't. He has one. John Stockton has two. Penny Hardaway has two with John Stockton. John Stockton has the second most All NBA teams in the 90s. He has the second most All Star selections in the 90s. He has the most steals in the 90s. He has the most assists in the 90s. He has the second highest value over replacement in the 90s. Third highest offensive win shares in the 90s. He had a three. He had a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in the '90s. That's absurd. He was three-time All Defensive as well. He was on the Dream Team and on the second U.S. So he won 2 gold medals as well. He led the league in assists 7 times. And so we're talking about someone that you're saying is not a top 10 player, but he's outperforming a lot of these players. He shot 52% from the field in the 90s, 61 true shooting percentage, 40% from 3-point line. John Stockton was great in the 90s. When we look at other people who did rankings, Bleacher Report has John Stockton number 8, Basketball Reference has him number 6, NBA.com has him number 7th, Fadeaway World has him 9th, Complex has him 7th, Sport News has him 8th. Gary Payton himself said John Stockton is the greatest point guard of all time. Jason Kidd said John Stockton is the greatest point guard of all time. Gary Payton said the toughest matchup he had was against John Stockton in the 90s. Not Michael Jordan, but John Stockton. There is no instance with whatever you said that makes anybody else that you're mentioning, Gary Payton himself, even took himself out of that. You can't name a guy who has led in 2 different categories in 1 decade and say he was not a top 10 player. It's almost impossible to say someone who was the leader in 2 categories out of the 5 major categories is not a top 10 player in a decade when the stats shows it. Everything shows it. He was on the dream team for a reason. Everybody knows John Stockton is the top 10. I know you tried to make an argument for John Stockton not being in the top 10, which is cool. You know, the points that you had was kind of invalid. I know you said Penny Hardaway, his peak was higher. It probably was, but we're talking about the entire decade. Reggie Miller, All NBA 3 times in the '90s, compared to 8 for John Stockton, and he was All Star 4 times in the '90s, compared to 8 by John Stockton. So he's doubling and tripling them up on everything. And not only was he All NBA 8 times, he's All Defensive 3 times. So he led the whole decade in steals. So I don't know what type of argument is you want to follow up with to dismantle what I'm saying, but I will let you go as a rebuttal.
I already explained to you about the stats, especially offensively, due to the illegal defense. If you guys don't know what the illegal defense entails, look it up. It will explain to you how the illegal defense rule is ineffective against a pick and roll. You couldn't defend a pick and roll because you would get violations if you did it as such. Like I said, you couldn't play drop coverage like you needed to against a guy like Karl Malone that rolls to the basket a lot. And then even in the pick and pops in the mid range, it's hard to defend the mid range in the illegal defense. So the efficiency that you was talking about, that was due to the mid range because honestly, in that illegal defense, it was hard to defend that. So without getting the violation, without you basically, if you overcommit, that's a violation in the illegal defense. So a lot of the statistics that you bring up, that's all I got to point out to debunk that point for us. How Stockton was effective for us. The most assists, a lot of his assists is contributed to that Jerry Sloan offense, and how Jerry Sloan, the mastermind he was, manipulated the lead, taking advantage of the rules with the illegal defense, which you can't blame. That's what you're supposed to do. But that doesn't mean that players didn't make it easier for Karl Malone and John Stockton. And John Stockton was never a number one. Gary Payton had to be the number one guy in Seattle. He was the best player on the team. He did had to score 20 plus and to defend the best guy every game. Stockton didn't have the scoring responsibility load like Gary Payton had. When you look at Clyde Drexler, I told you he finished second in MVP in 1992. And I also told you as a number two, instantly, soon he got traded to the Houston Rockets. You seen what that did. That resulted in a title. And he wasn't even in his prime anymore. We know Clyde best years was in the 80s and early part of the 90s. When you look at it, He didn't have more significance than Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, and you bring up the Scottie Pippen aspect. As much as guys care about Scottie Pippen and give him all the praise and the love, Scottie Pippen was by far more effective in almost every aspect of the game than John Stockton. For us, when it comes to defensively. For us, him taking the best matchup. For us, Scottie Pippen could score when his team needed to. The clutch defensive players, the clutch offensive players Scottie Pippen had. And easily, when Michael Jordan retired, that first retirement, Scottie Pippen showed the ability that he can carry a team, that he can lead a team. If it wasn't for a bad call in the playoffs against the New York Knicks, he possibly could have carried the Bulls to the NBA Finals by himself as being the number one guy. Stockton never had the ability to do it because he always had arguably the best power forward of all time, Karl Malone, at his disposal. So it's easy to get assists when you got the third leading scorer of all time on your roster in Karl Malone. It's easy. You go get a lot of easy assists just by Karl Malone's greatness alone. So and that same offense that I harped upon. We seen guys like Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer in 2007. Instantly, as a second year player, Darren Williams, alongside with Carlos Boozer, had just as many success, won 60 games, and made it to a conference finals running that same offense with that pick and roll. So, honestly, you can honestly say maybe the system benefited John Stockton. Maybe the system made him the offensive player that we regard him to be due to the fact of that offense. But we know Carlos Boozer not on the level of Karl Malone, so Darren Williams didn't really benefit as much as he could have. But it shows that Jerry Sloan's system was very beneficial to John Stockton and did him justice for us making him one of the greats.
Okay, well, like I'm not bringing up Pippen because he wasn't a great player. I believe he's a top five player in the '90s. You said that John Stockton can't be a top 10 player because he's a second guy on his team, second best guy on his team. Or even though you don't hold the same regards for Scottie Pippen. Now you're talking about Clyde Drexler. Clyde Drexler was a four-time All NBA player in the '90s. John Stockton was an eight-time. We're talking about the whole '90s, not a couple of seasons. And Darren Williams was an All NBA player twice. Like we're talking about someone who was great for a decade. I think that's the issue that you're falling into, that you're not talking about the topic. You said he was not a top 10 player in the '90s. We have to keep it to who was better in the '90s than John Stockton. And you continue to talk about illegal defense like he didn't play in the '90s. Like everyone had the same rules in the '90s. Everyone had the same rules in the '90s. Everyone benefited from certain defensive strategies. Everybody, even the Bulls benefited from it. Everyone benefited from trying to get the best out of their players in a certain decade. So you can't hold that against John Stockton because he maximized and led the whole decades in assists and steals to say he's not a top 10 player. When every reputable um, site has him as a top 10 player. Like the points that you made, I'm just not understanding how you could stick to a few years that someone did certain things and say that they're above John Stockton as a top 10 player. I don't know what argument that, like, okay, Clyde Drexler is not a greater player for his career than John Stockton. I don't think too many people think that. So it's kind of hard to say he was in the '90s when he was literally played about half of the '90s as a prime player. So I guess we could leave this up to the judges to see who won this round. I mean, not this round, this debate. But I really don't know how you made an argument that John Stockton is not a top 10 player in the '90s.
Hmm. Okay. Well, this is what I mean, obviously we'll give our takes here as judges, but I mean, I would like to so here's my idea for next week. I would like to have you guys just do this again. Therefore Herm has no excuse that I didn't hit him up in the week and he was short notice. Then we can actually do appropriate rounds.
I'm not doing this again.
Okay,
I don't know
well
what
that's
you're
fine.
talking about. Like, what? I mean, there's no argument. He didn't
No,
even make an argument.
yeah. I mean, so I'm here. I'm. It wasn't exactly rounds, but I mean, I'm kind of on your side because this is the important fact you brought out here is that yes, a lot of those guys who her mentioned, some of them are actually better and greater, sure, but John Stockton was one of the few players that actually played the entirety of the '90s, and he excelled in each and every year. He was one of those guys who played 82 games, like you said. He was earning the All NBAs. He dwarfs a lot of them in those selections. All defensive, he was statistically superior to some of them, and we're talking top 10, right? There's really only 4 or 5 guys that I could say during the entirety of the '90s or most of the '90s was better. Like Shaq came in '92, fine, great. Jordan, absolutely. I mean, who else are you going to say? I mean, I don't really want to say Hakeem because a lot of his prime was in the '80s. Dave Robinson, sure, but I'm not putting Stockton
How
any
you gonna
lower.
say that?
I'm not putting
Malone
Stockton
was
any lower
drafted
than.
in '84 and Stockton was drafted in '85. They ain't too far from the.
Well, yeah, but Stockton was good the entire '90s too, though. So
Yeah, I think he's talking about because
yeah,
at the '96, Hakeem was
yeah.
himself.
Hakeem was washed by like '98, '99, dude. Like Stockton was
Those
still.
Because he
early
had a better
'80s.
'90s. When you
Nope.
had a harder, rougher road, you getting all that. You putting the team on your back. Of course, you gonna flame out faster than someone who's a passenger.
Sounds like excuses.
Sound like
Passenger.
I'd rather be Hakeem Olajuwon than John Stockton.
Well, obviously, I'm taking Hakeem over John Stockton, but he wasn't a better player overall. I mean, you could argue that, but there's no way I'm putting Stockton any lower than 7th. So I do believe he was a top 10 player in the league. He was definitely better than Gary Payton, too. That's ridiculous.
I would say he would on average, like if you go year by year, do top 10 players, he'll round up on your top 10 more than he wouldn't be if you go from 90 to 99.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he's like, he played the most games, right? Next to Malone. He statistically was amazing. He has all the accolades you're gonna say for a player who played all the like what's the criteria, right? Like for being a top 10 player. Stockton checks all of them. Were there players like that's one of the things that to me you need to be great for all 10 years or most of it. Like Shaq, Dave Robinson, sure,
Technically 9 years. You know what?
okay.
Yeah.
John, what do you think?
Well, at least 8. At least 8 years.
At least 8, yeah. Like the only other players
Like
who like
8 years.
More
like
than
the other
half of
players
the
who we could say
decade.
that he doesn't have an argument over are like Shaq, David Robinson, and Mike, right? Otherwise, it's up in the air. There's no
His
way
I
he's
mean,
not at
teammate
least top
Carl,
10.
Karl
his
Malone,
teammate Carl
Karl Malone,
Malone.
yeah.
Hakeem, like Karl Malone,
Hakeem,
Hakeem, I put definitely. Hakeem was a defensive player of the year, 2-time MVP. I mean, Finals MVP,
yeah.
MVP. Like he, what he did
I mean,
half a
DP was
decade is more
defensive
was
player of
John
the year.
Stockton did entire decade.
Shit, what Jordan did from 91 to 93 is better what Stockton did from 90 to 99.
But like, there's only a few players you can say that though. That's what Travis trying to say. It's not
Yeah.
like you
Well,
can
that's what.
name 10 other
Yeah,
players.
and that's the case that you said too, which is why I'm siding with you, is because you brought up the argument that, and I was waiting for someone to do that too, or like kind of to refute that, but you brought it up where like it's not just like you said, it's not just a couple of years, or it's not just 2 or 3 years who was the go during it was who was the most consistent or one of the most consistent during the majority, if not all of the '90s. Stockton's one of the few guys that actually was consistently good to great for most of those, if not all of those years. And like his stats and accolades prove that. Yeah, I mean, obviously he wasn't the alpha most of it seems, but his minutes are up there, his usage rate is up there, games played are up there. To me, like I'm not. This isn't
Wasn't
about who
he
was the
co
goat.
All-Star MVP with Malone?
Maybe.
Yeah, he was the
Yeah.
All-Star
Was that
MVP in
90?
'93. '93.
John, let's get
93?
John Steak here.
In Seattle, who led the team in scoring? Sean Kemp or Gary Payton?
I think it was Gary Payton.
It was Sean Kemp by .3.
It was, okay.
And then
Damn.
he talked about the illegal defense, and then brought up the Dan Williams and Carlos Boozer. Illegal defense wasn't even the defense no more at that time.
Nah, but I
So
brought it up because of the system itself. The system
yeah,
itself,
yeah,
Jerry Sloan proved that his system was a great damn system. And we seen a young Darren Williams really fresh out of college, winning 60 games, getting that Utah team to the Western Conference Finals at the time. And we seen what happened to Darren Williams once he left Utah. Didn't have the same effectiveness on the game that he once had under Jerry Sloan in that offense. That's why I brought them up.
no, I totally get that. But I mean, you made the example that because of the level illegal defenses, that's why they was able to do certain things in that era. But it was no illegal defenses for Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer. But that was my only example. It was the way he played his offense was great for those players, those type of players. He knew how to pick his players. Um, um, I'm gonna be honest. I got Brandon 2-0. I like the way he broke it down. It was a couple of things I didn't know about Stockton that I found out. I just believe Stockton was a top 10 player in the '90s, um, and that's it. I mean, that's all I mean, y'all can name everybody else, even if you got Stockton at 10, that still makes him a top 10 player in the '90s. I don't think Gary Payton's in front of Stockton, and that's just I I, I I wanted to tag Gary because I think Stockton was a better player in the '90s than Gary Payton. And I don't I would rather be Stockton than Drexler, even though Drexler got the
You
MVP.
must have forgot what happened in 1996 playoffs, man. I think y'all
I
boy.
mean, it's a decade. It's not 1 year. That's the issue.
I didn't forget that shot that John Stockton hit at the top of the key in '97 to make it to the NBA Finals against Houston. And I think Clyde Drexler was on that team as well.
Yep.
So I didn't forget about that shot either.
Yeah, I ain't forget about those early first round exits with a high expectation Utah Jazz teams in the 90s either. In the early
And then
90s either.
I didn't forget about Utah making it back to the finals in '98 either. So
I ain't bring
I
up
mean,
the
I
fact
just
that
believe
Jordan beat
Stock.
them
I
all.
believe you had a great argument, Herm. I believe you had a great argument. I just believe Stockton was a great top 10 player in the '90s. That's it. I mean,
But I
you.
but I think when you judge the base though, you gotta put personal feelings aside.
I mean, you have him at 11. So basically, you have a great argument for having him top 10 as well. I mean, you have him at 11. So probably most likely, if you broke down your top 10 list, and you probably also have John Stockton in your top 10. You have him at 11. It's not like you got him at 13, 14. You have him at 11. So sound like you have a great argument. I mean, the way you started off your debate, it was almost like you was arguing for Stockton, talking about how great he was because of the illegal defense. So I mean, that's all I got to say.
Ray, you want to
I
chime
think
in?
he was a top 10 player myself. I mean, you could make the argument that there was 10 other players better than him for a specific year, but overall, with totality, you couldn't name 10 players for the night from what they did from 1990 to 1999. You can't say 10 other players did that from that time frame.
I mean, it's kind of hard to keep him out of the top five in like the '90s. To be honest with you, what he did, he has the second most All NBA teams, the
You
second
going
most
too
All
damn
Star
far, man.
selections,
He is not no
letting
damn bottom.
assists, letting steals for a decade.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's when you argue that, like, I was open to hearing all arguments for Stockton, for or against, and I mean, like, the thing I wanted to hear from Herm is why there were nine other players better, and I wanted them to break that down. I mean, by WAR statistics, why it didn't matter if they weren't there for all 10 years because of X and X and X. Didn't really get that a lot. I mean, he made some good arguments for some of the peaks of the other guys, but again, some of these guys, they're major contributions were only a few years in the 90s. Like prime, Clyde wasn't prime going into the 90s. Neither was Hakeem. Pippen, whatever. If you want to say he's better than, sure, that's great. That's a
I
great
mean,
argument.
how Travis when he
I mean,
finished second in MVP in 1992. If you say he
yeah,
wasn't in his prime, and then instantly because of that off-season trade, I mean that mid-season trade that Houston made for Clyde, that propelled them to win that second
no, I
straight
said he
title.
wasn't. I said he was washed and not really wasn't producing by the end of the 90s, which he
I
wasn't. I
mean,
mean,
but he still was more successful for us for us for us as a player to me than John Stockton was. Yes, you could bring up overall statistics and all that, but you still got guys even all time, despite him being the assist leader and steals leader, they don't have him as a top 3 point guard of all time. They don't.
is he more
They got
consistent?
Curry,
Stockton
Magic,
had.
and Isaiah. They got
And
How is he
guys
more
Gary
right
Payton
there
has
consistent?
in
him
the
as the
top
greatest
3.
point guard of all time.
No, they don't. No,
Gary
they
Payton
don't.
has great. Yes, Gary Payton said he's the greatest point guard of all time. Jason Kidd said it too. So I
He
don't know
wasn't
who
more.
you talking
How
about.
was he
You
more
don't have.
successful than John Stockton? John Stockton beat him in like all NBAs. He had more finals appearances. Neither of them won a. I mean, Clyde only won a ring because of the Hakeem Olajuwon.
And
I mean,
you said John Stockton don't count because he was a second guy on the team. What do you think Clyde Drexler was?
yeah, exactly. Like, what's the logic there? I mean, it's
Clyde was proven in
and
'92.
also like this. Besides the
But
point,
but
like
but
you're
I
never
see
gonna
you
make
guys value. But I see
the
you
argument.
guys value longevity more than peak. I think that's why I basically see I value the peak better because at the end of the day, if my peak sustain and winning titles and making my team more successful than a guy that just had consistency
I mean, who are you talking about though?
Yeah, who
throughout
are you talking about?
Who are you talking about?
for his benefit of my team,
That
the
wasn't Clyde
guy
Drexler, dude.
won the title,
It wasn't
he
Clyde.
was
Like,
the
who are
number
you talking
one
about?
guy. The
You talking about Hakeem, Michael Jordan?
The whole point of this is you haven't made an argument that there were 10 guys that were better or more deserving of top 10 players than John Stockton, even if he was number 10. That you didn't make the sufficient argument that he was, or backing up, naming 9 guys like solidly and then making their cases. That's why I wanted to hear because top 10 is there's a lot of wiggle room there, right? Brandon did an excellent job of listing why John Stockton was. He did it from an accolade standpoint, success, winning. Again, he outlined how his resume stacked up to other players you wanted to name, and again, we didn't get the other part of the argument. So that's what I need from
And
someone who's going to say it's not top 10.
And why
last
are you
week,
talking about longevity when we're talking about the '90s?
Yeah, what
How does that even
longevity?
make sense?
They're just the casuals there. King's
and
Speech
last
once.
Herb even said that like we're talking about longevity stats, like we're talking about the '90s. This is one decade.
Stockton retired in '03, same year Jordan did. But
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Miller, I thought he was going to talk about Reggie Miller more because
That's
I
what he
did.
said last week. That's
Yeah,
what he said
and
last week. He's gonna make a case where
so
Reggie was above Stockton.
so I had did a lot of homework on Reggie Miller and looked at some articles, read some articles, trying to. So I thought he was going to attack that argument with Reggie Miller. So um, I guess he kind of forgot a few things he had said last week. So I had did a lot of homework on Reggie Miller. But uh, like I said, his first few minutes, I thought he was actually making an argument for you. And I was going to say, Brandon, you don't even need to say nothing right now because he made your argument for you when he was saying the illegal defense made the pick and roll better. Like it made it impossible to guard. I've seen some teams really guard the pick and roll and do a good job at it. But I mean, they were two great players, Stockton and Malone. I mean,
Yeah, and like that kind of an argument only works if like there were other teams or whatever that were not going to be allowed to use the same system, the same offense. Like
yes,
that's ridiculous. Like you're trying to penalize teams and players for being individually great and better than their competition, which never works. Like you're not
Pick and roll
you're playing
wins
time machine
games,
basketball.
not championships.
It's crazy because we in the era of the pick and roll. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody
exactly.
run that.
Yeah. Also, zone is played in less than 5% of every NBA game because there's too much spacing, dude. Like it doesn't really matter. Like pick and roll is doubly effective today.
Can't zone when you got 5 shooters on the court, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So what's the
Okay.
argument? There might as well be illegal defense today. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it might. I mean, honestly, it really should be.
Yeah, exactly. Like it really doesn't matter. It's all about. It's the same thing. The offense just evolved. The offense dictates the defense. That's what happens.
I actually think the NBA might go back to bringing back illegal defense to help bring back the one-on-one skill, the isolation on the one side, and you can't double the guy. You can't halfway double. You either got to double or stay at home. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to bring back the illegal defense.
That'd be cool.
It's crazy because you're going to get LeBron, KD, and Steph didn't get to play in the illegal defense area. They would have.
What they should do is do what I said from the years ago. They should limit amount of threes a team could take a game, because then now you got to really strategize when you're going to take a three. You can't just be jacking. This nigga shot 63s
60,
in one
I knew
game.
That shit is crazy.
How you shoot more threes than 2-pointers? Like, what the?
I thought I'd never see. I mean, just being a basketball player and watching, even watching the era of the three, it's like you would never thought you would see somebody shoot more threes than twos.
And they kept shooting like.
So I came up in the era. I mean, I know time changed, but I came up in the era when we played. The 3-point shot was literally a bad shot. You damn near had to be wide open to shoot it. So I remember the steps we used to have to run for taking bad shots from the 3-point line in high school. Oh, I remember that shit.
The three is if you was down by 3 and you needed a tie to win.
Yes,
That's when you took a 3. When it's halftime, you taking a half-court 3. That's the only bad 3 you can take and not get in trouble for, is the end of the half or end of the quarter 3 shot.
Well, in any regard, or in any case, this is debate night, episode 2. Brandon wins rather convincingly, and I mean, it was a curtailed seventh debate, but Brandon still obviously came far more prepared.
We got to stop putting certain words in there. I mean, because Brandon gave him a 1. Your debate. Still like it's a sweep, okay. I'm paying attention to what's going on. I'm not being one side. I'm paying attention. If Brandon would have won one round and Herm would have won one round, I would have said it.
Yeah.
I feel like Brandon won 2 rounds.
He was attacking his play style more so of what his accolades and stuff.
Like, so there's really only one way
he was going by play style. Who was the top 10 based on how they played, not what they accomplished during that.
Yeah, I mean, like I can understand we're talking about a different era. Like it wouldn't work in this era that we're comparing, but we're comparing the same era, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and there's only one way that Herm.
It's one thing to compare Stockton and the rest of the era than Stockton and Steph Curry. I mean, it's a whole different argument because it's like it was 2 different eras and they played under 2 different rules.
Yeah, and the only way that Herm was going to win this is if he, like I said, you have to. If you're saying one guy is in top 10, then you have to list your criteria and list the 9 players who were better and show how they fit the. But he didn't do that.
10 players. The 10 players.
10 players. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's saying Stockton is not top 10, so you have to make 10 players.
10 better players. Why and make it stick, and that did not happen.
And he would have to me, what you have to do, them bottom 3, you have to attack them because most likely most people are going to agree with your top 5. You got the top 5 in the 90s. It's the bottom 3 that are interchangeable, and you have to really attack. That's why when he was saying last week Reggie Miller, I did more homework on Reggie Miller to see do I feel like he was a better player and list off everything. So I broke it down. So. And he just never said anything about Reggie Miller. So,
yep. And
well, I guess he looked up his stats to say he wasn't top 10. He said Reggie was in top 10. So,
Oh, so he did bring up Reggie because I didn't hear him
Yeah,
say
he was
it.
like Reggie
Yeah.
made the Bulls.
Well,
Play
it's just like
harder.
anything. Like you
Oh, he
have
showed
to.
did. He did. He
You
did.
can't just pull a King's speech and say that so and such is the thing and not offer any proof or evidence to back that up.
Oh,
So
so you saying for now when we say something done, just call it King's speech.
yeah, say he King speeched. Pull a
Okay.
King speech where you just state your opinion and don't offer any evidence.
Okay. That's what.
Okay, for sure. But I mean, in the interest of fair play here, I was thinking just so we can uh, put this to bed forever here, John, because we got a very salty King speech. I'm wondering, would you? Because I already destroyed him. And Brandon just had a monumental debate. He easily won. Would you like to have or basically refry King's speech next week just to put him to bed for good on that topic because he keeps arguing about it. Otherwise, I mean, I think it's an easy debate, but he thinks that maybe he can have another try. I don't think he'd try again, but would you like to?
I mean, what would he want to debate? I'm not debating LeBron and Kobe because I don't think it's fair. So
It's not fair.
I don't think it's fair, and I think when I heard his arguments, I think I think you saved him by going first. I think he actually gets worse if he go because all he did was try to challenge everything you said. What was going to be his ground if he would have went first?
Yeah.
He would have had to stand on his own words if he go first. So no, I mean, I don't think it's fair, and I would rather debate when somebody wanted to debate me. I'd rather debate somebody else.
So you hear that King speech? Like you already got cooked by me on the LeBron Kobe debate. John is willing to debate you because we definitely want to. At least you showed up, right? We want to give you another chance, but you need to pick a debate that's a little bit closer. Here, you can type this out. What would you like to debate John about? If you want to debate Kobe, fine, but like make it someone who's close to him. A Duncan.
Kobe and Allen Iverson.
Yeah. Like who would you want to debate? Like do it something where you have a chance. Because you're not gonna convince. I don't care who the judges are. You're not gonna convince anyone with your unfactual, biased, and like zero evidence having argument. Like I think it'd be. I mean, unless you come up with someone just a waste of our time to even debate you, because we know how it's gonna go.
It's perfect. It's just, I don't know if you put an echo on when you speak. I swear I'll think you sound like Zordon. Like
I got a city question for everybody but
just
Brandon.
remind me of it.
I got a city question for everybody but Brandon because I think Brandon might have seen this. Have any of y'all ever dealt with a dust storm?
Yes.
Dust storm, yeah.
I mean, we had one here in Chicago yesterday. I had never seen it. We get these alerts on our phone. It's crazy.
Like in the city?
Yes, we had a dust storm yesterday here in Chicago.
Crazy.
It was crazy.
Boston. They on their way to Boston.
I'm up in the desert. We got dust storms all the time.
No, that's why I said. I got this question for everybody with Brandon. I'm like, that's why I asked. That's why I said everybody but you, Brandon. I'm like, I had never heard of it. So
I mean, we don't get too many in Hawaii. I'll tell you that.
So I'm like, crazy dust storm. I was like, and you could see it too. I mean, if you go outside and you saw it coming.
That's some nasty work. Wow, that's crazy.
It's just certain things you don't expect to happen in Chicago, and it's
Yeah, it was like where'd that come from? Like the farms?
the farms are south. I mean, and it's crazy because Illinois is nothing but farmland. That's what Illinois is, nothing but farmland. But Chicago, we don't get anything. We get the rain, and I mean, we get some of that, but we don't. It's just certain things we don't get.
I call a windy city for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's literally.
Might as well get some dirty wind at some point.
Lamar Jack, that's where I am as well.
Dirty wind.
It's crazy because
let me go ahead and correct this dude who's wrong. John Stockton shot 2.1 threes per game in the 90s. So I don't know where you got the .6 from in the first place.
Oh, he's just someone who looks up basketball reference and doesn't use any context at all.
Yeah, he must be looking up the wrong player.
It might be. He might have been looking.
Is that Jordan?
Ain't John Stockton's son in the league right now? I mean, I think he's in the G League, ain't he? No, I do. I mean, I think John Stockton's son is in the G League. I mean,
King Speech says, "Let's debate teams." King John. Okay, so here's what you'll do, King Speech. So get in there. I already told Lamar Jack. He gets to go in there. Whoever, let's say, whoever goes into our Discord first, general section, GJK, and says, "Okay, John, here's what I want to do." I'll let John pick what he wants to do, whether it's debate you or if Lamar Jack responds first, the title, because I already beat you. It's a waste of my time. B. Lee just had a debate, so we might have John. But point is, you need to get in there.
Lamar Jack said he wanted a topic.
Yeah,
and
get in there, Lamar.
Lamar, I mean, he just want to talk about a topic, and I think we should get back to basketball more.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope Lamar. I ain't telling you what to pick, but I hope you talk about something that's current and going on in the playoffs and something we could talk about because I like what's going on. Like I said early in the show, I personally would have never picked the Pacers New York conference finals. That's not something I would have bet somebody that we wasn't gonna see that. Maybe not Cleveland, but Boston. I really expected to see them. I know Tatum got hurt, but they was already going to be down 3-1 when Tatum got hurt. So I expect Boston. I didn't think Boston was going to win another championship, but I thought they was at least going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So.
Man, them $300 million contracts was for that one championship. They got their money for that. They gonna break up this team. Them new owners is not going to pay that luxury tax next year. If they keep everybody, it's going to be over $200 million. It's going to be the first time ever the luxury tax is more than the payroll. If they bring everybody back,
they can't do it. There's no way.
I think what's his name gonna retire.
Horford done.
Horford retiring. So I think he walking away. But you got all these guys on these big contracts, and you're gonna play that luxury tax, knowing it's gonna expose Jaylen Brown as not the number one.
That's why Luka got up out of Dallas. They didn't want to pay him no more.
Luxury tax when their best player is recovering from Achilles. They getting rid of
a whole year. A whole year.
No, but I think that's why Minnesota traded Karl Anthony Towns because his contract was going to be large. And his was going to be larger than Anthony Edwards because he's going to continually asking for the max. I believe that was the reason for the
more
trade.
Years.
Anything else.
King's Speech, how can you not figure out Discord? I mean, you can't figure out how to debate either. So,
Tyson Thomas, if you want to come up here, you can.
Yeah, there's a link, boys.
Since you keep talking, somebody's afraid. If somebody's afraid, go ahead and click the link. And I don't know what type of argument you're trying to make, but go ahead and click the link.
That's so fun. But
you talking about 0.6? Okay. I didn't see him writing that. So
you better come with some. I mean, the Discord link's already in chat. King Speech. Brandon put it up there for Lamar.
I mean, he could come up in a little bit, but I'm waiting for the Tyson dude who said someone's afraid of him.
They always say that, then they never come on.
Who's afraid now?
Hey, Craig. They y'all over there beating up Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers fans in New York.
I seen the videos. They was
you seen the video?
I don't know. What would you come to New York in an Indiana Pacers jersey?
Hey, that's my favorite team, man. Let's go.
They was throwing stuff at them.
They threw trash cans. And everything.
Oh God.
I mean, y'all use my name a lot, so
at least
I figured I'd pull up if y'all drop the link. All right.
There's our
LeBron
GOAT guy. Our LeBron GOAT guy.
Yeah,
right
LeBron GOAT guy. So what I'm going to do, B. Lee, and I'm a little lazy when it comes to putting stuff on on paper. I'm going to write up my full criteria. It's about 8 to 10 things. And I do list the negatives because I list the negatives and I want the negatives to be for everybody across the board. Again, every player has negatives. Right? You guys love to bring up Jordan's Washington years, which is the only thing that can reduce Superman. That's the Superman's only kryptonite. Okay, so we can put the Washington years in there, right? Even despite
we don't bring up Washington years. We just correct y'all when y'all say something stupid about LeBron, but don't
See,
hold the same.
I mean, again, when people say things that like Jordan 6-0, I never use 6-0. Matter of fact, my criteria wants it to be like finals and rings is like the fifth thing you look at. Because again, all people didn't have the opportunity to win rings the same way, right? Like Dominique Wilkins didn't have the same chance to win ring as a James Worthy or even a Jordan. Now you could say that Dominique Wilkins almost was on Jordan's level, but when Doc Rivers is your second best team in a market like Atlanta, all right, well that's going to pale, his rings argument, right? So you got to try to look at him at
so rings doesn't matter to you, King's Speech?
No, I said it's the fifth seed right there. It's the fifth thing I look at. I want to look at the players' individual greatness first. Then once we get these players who are individually great on their own, now rings is like a tiebreaker. You understand what I'm saying?
How do you measure individual greatness?
Well, you're gonna look at things like All NBA, consistency, like MVP finish, right? One thing, like,
are you making another case for LeBron?
No, see again.
I saw you get your
you guys are very good at this. You guys are very good at this, right? You guys are very good at it. For me, my top 10 are some of the most amazing. For LeBron to be in my top 10, I think he's one of the most amazing players. So I'm not trying to not come in first.
For your criteria, again, number one.
When we get to the end of my criteria, when I'm going to put the negatives as 9 and 10, right? Whatever, 8, 7, and 8. The fact that LeBron had teams with expectations that did not meet expectations.
Oh my God!
With a considerable, see, that's what I'm saying. Oh my God! But by the same token, like how many teams did Jordan have with expectations that did not meet? Nobody expected anything in Washington. You guys know that, right?
What happened in 1988?
In 1988, okay, that was Pippen's rookie year. Did anybody see y'all say Pippen was there?
You know it was other people on the team.
Okay,
right?
it was Horace Grant and Charles Oakley. Who else was great? Who else was an all-star level player on the 88?
Let me have the number one defense in the league.
Am I making excuses for Jordan? Actually, they didn't even expect that team to beat the Cavs. The expectation was they were going to lose to the Cavs because the Cavs were a 57-win team. Y'all do remember that, right?
I think you got the wrong year.
88. You said 88, sir. That's Pippen's rookie year.
So you're saying that, I mean, obviously expectations, right? Like nobody expected LeBron's Cavs to go to the finals in 07.
Wow.
I mean, nobody expected them best in the league.
Weren't they a 2 seed or 3 seed? Or were they a 2 seed, 3 seed, or 4 seed? I think they were the 3 seed.
The Bulls played the Cavs. The Bulls played the Cavs the first round of the year. Jordan averaged 45 in that series.
Yes, he did. And again, the Cavs were a 57-win team. Y'all do remember that, right?
Hold on, B-Lee. Here's your man. He just joined.
Well, I did finally hit y'all on Discord.
That has something to say about John Stockton.
Yeah, I was simply bringing up the point that y'all broke down Herm's take and then didn't really get into your take. I was making the point that Stockton's 3-point shooting, which you said was at 50% or whatever, or 40%.
40%.
wasn't very impactful because he only made 0.6 threes a game in his career.
Okay, we're talking about the 90s though.
Even in the 90s, you break it down to the 90s, it wasn't over 1.
I have a question. Was Larry Bird a great 3-point shooter?
No, not in terms of volume compared to 3-point shooters.
Okay, was he a great 3-point shooter?
He can shoot the 3. I wouldn't say he was we don't have the evidence in game really to say he was a great, because that shot wasn't utilized in that way.
So his 3-point shooting
was he better than Reggie Miller?
Better. His 3-point
was he better than Reggie Miller? Was he better than Glenn Rice? Was he better than all these other players that shot at a much higher value?
Who, Bird?
Yes.
He was on par with all of them, in my opinion.
Based off of what?
Larry Bird is a great 3-point shooter.
Based off of what?
off of
Well,
what he did in his career
3-point
in the
shooting
80s.
contest.
Based off of what? The 3-point shooting
What he did
contest,
in the
right?
80s. Yeah, he
You're
was
right.
a
That's
great
Exactly.
value
3-point shooter.
shooting.
To my
When
point,
they needed it, he made it.
when that based off if you needed it, they made it. That's what quantifies a great 3-point shooter.
No, based off of what, and like by
Yeah.
any measurement you want to make for, especially in the '80s, Larry Bird was, especially compared to his peers, was a fantastic three-point shooter.
Right. If you
Even in terms
compare
of
it,
volume for that '80s.
I mean,
if you could,
if you can't recognize that, it's kind of hard to make an argument.
Yeah, how are you arguing against that?
all I'm saying was compared to the volume, what makes a great 3-point shooter is not necessarily just the 3-point percentage.
We're
It's
talking
based
about
off
that
of
era.
volume. So
Yeah,
we bring
Larry
up
Bird
John
had a decent
Stockton.
volume
Now
in the
you
80s
now
as
you
well.
now you move it to Larry Bird, who to me would be considered a
I'm just
better
trying
3-point
to
shooter.
make
Hold
a
on,
correlation
let me
into
finish.
something that you will understand. That's all.
No, you move it to Larry Bird when the 3-point shot was even less emphasized in the 80s, and then say he's a great 3-point. If you want to say he's a great 3-point shooter, fine, but that has no correlation to John Stockton, who in the 90s didn't shoot it at a high volume when other players did. And so you bring up his 3-point percentage to say what? That he made 0.6 3-point shots a game for his career. So to me, that was not a very good point that you brought up. But you broke down Herm's argument and didn't they didn't speak on what your argument was. Also, if I'm making a point for John Stockton, which I don't think Herm, I think he is top 10. You got to give him top 10. But at the same time, he was not a great playmaker. He was a great distributor.
Okay, for one, I wasn't making a 3-point point that makes him the best 3-point shooter. I just said that he shot 40% from the 3-point line and 50% from the field, and his true shooting was 61%. Those are very efficient numbers. And the
yeah.
argument you're trying to make is he didn't take as many of those threes. So how does that make him not efficient? Answer that question.
I didn't say he wasn't efficient.
Well, what point are you making then?
On low volume.
What point are you making? His shooting percentage was 61%.
On low
He
volume,
shot
yeah.
50%. He shot 50% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line, true shooting 61, over 80% from the free throw line.
On
He was
low
very
volume,
efficient shooting the
yes.
ball. He was very efficient shooting the ball. So what point are you
On
trying to
low
make that he was
volume.
not efficient?
But my point is he wasn't an advantage creator. Or isolation player.
What?
No,
What does that have
I'm
to do
saying,
with being a top 10 player and being efficient? What does that
huh?
have to do with being not a top 10 player and efficient? That's what I'm trying to say. You have to make an argument.
What is a
You have to make that argument.
I'm trying to. What is this?
What I'm saying that
That's
doesn't
TikTok.
make him to
We're
me
not
that
TikTok
as
players.
far as the top 10 argument, yes, he was an efficient player.
You have to be
But if
on
I'm
TikTok.
making an argument against that, I'm saying that he was efficient. Agreed. But I'm saying he wasn't an isolation scorer. He wasn't a volume scorer. And therefore, yes, he made open shots when they were granted to him. I agree with that. Off of Karl Malone's double teams and different things of that nature. But at the end of the day, when teams play Karl Malone one-on-one and things like that, his level of efficiency went down tremendously.
See, I think the argument is
How did his efficient go down?
Well, you can look at it against teams, better defensive teams, and teams that could play Karl Malone in those situations.
So
He
you're
would
saying
struggle,
that
and like you said, when you look at him in the series against Gary Payton, when you look at him against some of those Portland series, when they had what's the point guard Terry Porter. When you look at him in those series, he got outplayed by Terry Porter.
facts. These are facts.
When did he get outplayed by Terry Porter? When?
Huh?
When?
What was that? What was the year? 90. Just look at the playoffs. They head to head with Portland, and they lost those playoff years. You'll see how Terry Porter. I can't remember the specific year. I would have to look it up. That was a long time ago, brother.
I mean, you're trying to make a point that you're just making up at the top of your head, and
I'm not making up at the top. Look at the series.
Make it.
Why would you say I'm making up off the
You're
top of
going
my
to
head? Because
make
I don't
it.
know the specific year.
So
You
you're
made
saying
you
that
made a little sense.
since Terry Porter outplayed him in a series, that he's not a top 10 player,
In
and this
multiple
could knock
series.
him
I didn't
down.
say.
Is,
I
is
said
so
he
is
was
this
top
what would
10.
knock him down?
Are you listening? But listening is an art. I said you would have to
So
give.
you're saying that he's top 10, but you're trying to make an argument to actually knock him out of the top 10.
Well,
That's the whole point,
but
is to
you
make an
went off
argument
of
to knock him
no,
out
no,
the
no.
top
I didn't
10.
say he wasn't. I didn't. I was
Yeah.
just talking. I was just speaking to John Stockton and his deficiencies as a player. I never said that he wasn't top 10. I came on the panel to talk about how the
So
3-point,
that's
and then
that's
you
that's
told me to
like saying
elaborate on John
that's like
Stockton.
saying
I'm elaborating
Scottie
on
Pippen
John Stockton
is
and
not a
his
great
deficiencies.
player because
He's
Barkley
he,
averaged more rebounds. So how the
what
hell does that knock
Another
Scottie
water
Pippen out of
valley.
the top 10? What you're
what?
saying does not prove my argument wrong. It's just nitpicking a couple of games. That doesn't matter what my argument was. That
First
has
of
nothing to
all,
do with my argument.
two series is not a couple games.
You don't even know the game. You don't
First of
even know
all,
the
huh?
you don't even know the series. You don't even know the
I do
games.
know the series. I said I didn't know the year,
What
but I can
series?
get it for you. I
What
can
yeah,
get
you don't know the
you want
years and you don't know the
Go ahead and
series, so
get it.
you
Let
don't
him
know what
get
you're
it.
talking about.
what?
No, but
Go and get it, and let's compare those series.
Oh, we can do that, bro. No problem. Hold on 1 second, brother.
Well, here's the thing. Also, he leaves like whatever he says is doesn't matter because he already agreed that he was a top 10 player of all time, or of the
Not a
'90s, I
top 10
should say.
player. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I give him the and I wrote that in the chat. So I wrote that he asked me
So
to
what are
come
we
up here.
arguing
I
about?
wrote
Just a
that in the
minutia?
chat. I
Who
wrote that in the
cares?
chat that he was a top 10 player. I said I said, but at the same time, um,
You want to
I,
argue?
what's that? I don't want to. I want to
You want to
argue.
argue? That's it. I mean,
If I was
I
argue,
caught that in my.
I would say he wasn't
I
top
caught
10.
that. So you just want to argue? I mean, you more you talk, that's what you want to do. It's
It
cool.
is a debate if he was top 10, and you're trying to. I don't know what you're trying to do actually. So
I'm not trying to. You told me to come up here.
because you said you had things to say about the
That's
debate,
not. When did
and
I say that?
I thought
Point out the chat where I said I had something to say about John Stockton because I said he
you
was top
said
10 in the
something
chat.
like I didn't want to. Somebody was scared of
I
something. I
said
don't know
he
what
was
you
top
said.
10 again. I said he was top 10 in the chat. So you saying that I made an argument to come up here and say I had stuff to say about John Stockton when I said he was top 10 in the chat.
So
Yeah.
basically, you are agreeing with me. That's all you had to say when you wrote
I,
those comments. Says
what did
yes,
I wrote? I
Beasley,
wrote
I agree
comments
with
about his 3-point shooting. You
you. You
told me
should
to
have
come
just
up here
said
based
yes,
off those
Beasley.
comments.
I really agree with you. You're right.
What's that? I said that at the beginning. Y'all weird, bro. This is you weird, bro. You weird. You the one that asked me to come in here.
Weird is a crazy word.
Right. You the one that wanna argue. I said you was looking for somebody to argue in the chat. I brought up John Stockton's 3-point shooting and he only made 0.6 threes a game. And then you said, well, come up in here if you got something. And I came in here and said that. I said, while I have him top 10, I do think he's a bit overrated.
World Breaker, we're arguing just the '90s, not all time. Stockton's not a top 10 all time player.
No, not even close. Right. I think that to me that's a weak guard error. John Stockton, yes, he is top 10 of that era, no question. I just think that was a small guard era, a weak guard era, and John Stockton is a little bit overrated based off of that, in my opinion. But for that era, yes, he's top 10.
Our panel is biased.
Yeah, that's
So
what, because I said they didn't speak to any
why?
of your argument.
Well, we did.
Because he
I
didn't
spoke
know how. But
extensively about
you're
it.
speaking on it and you agree with me.
No, I agree that John Stockton being the top 10 player doesn't have anything to do with your argument.
Well, no, his argument, Tyson, that we broke down and agreed with was what the relevant
If I
parts of
agree
it.
that somebody is a certain player, if I believe that LeBron James is better than Kobe, but your argument is trash, I can still have a problem with your argument.
I talked to King's speech about that. His argument was trash.
Yeah,
I didn't
talk to
even see
King
that, but
Speech about that.
again,
King
that
Speech can break down all y'all inconsistencies.
he's bringing up two different points.
Well, no, what we talked about that is that obviously, like, not every single part of his argument is relevant. Like I mean, it kind of was though because all of his argument is about comparing John Stockton and what he was accomplishing relative to everyone in the '90s, and how there's not really an argument about him not being top or a top
And
10 player,
I do
and that
agree with
factored into
Herm.
it, right? There
I
are other
do.
players who were better at him than certain things like 3-point shooting, sure, but all across the board, there's nothing to suggest John Stockton was not top 10, and obviously you agree with that.
Or I do agree with Herm's point as well, as far as the illegal defense and how Utah Jazz manipulated that, and that is why John Stockton did get a lot of his assist numbers and his assist numbers to the post. While he is not a great playmaker, by many playmaking standards, as far as himself breaking down defenses, creating advantages, driving, kicking, those type of things, he was not that type of playmaker. He benefited off that pick and roll offense, and which allowed him to, kick it down to and even post ups. He got assists for post ups when Karl Malone was just in the post, turning around and shooting, facing up and shooting. He was getting assists for that as
He
well.
get assists
And a
that,
lot
but
of
he's
players, and to fairness, a lot of players do get those type of assists. But also, when we're talking about the elite assist guys of today's game and elite playmakers, we talk about them breaking down defenses, creating offense for other players. And I just don't think John Stockton was in that realm.
Stockton would do that
Okay,
occasionally. He was fantastic on the break. He would also he was also a super phenomenal IQ for the game too. Like he was
100%, and that's why he is top 10. I do give him great kudos for his
also every other
IQ.
team had the
I give
same
him
advantages
kudos.
and disadvantages too. Like
I give him kudos for identifying which players had advantages, blah blah blah, and those type of things. I do give him credit for that. But as far
Great
as
distributor.
right, what?
Yeah, just like
No, he's a
Peter's
great
saying, y'all
distributor.
keep bringing up some rules that they played in the '90s, like it's a negative. Like that's how they play basketball in the '90s.
I
Could I
didn't
ask a
say
quick
that, but
question?
at the same time, in the '90s, other players got assists because of their playmaking abilities. And while I'm saying John Stockton, because of the rules or whatever have you, and not just because of the rules, because of that style of offense, which will be successful in maybe multiple areas. I'm just saying that because of their style of offense and accompanied by the rules is why John Stockton was able to run that pick and roll, and there was really nothing you can do about it. In today's game, you can send somebody over there, pre switch that, load that pick and roll, and blah blah blah, and they would have to swing it. And maybe it's a secondary kick. Maybe John Stockton doesn't get that assist. Maybe they're still going to create an advantage in that pick and roll. But maybe now Karl Malone has to make another swing pass to shoot it to another player. Blah, 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 so forth and so on. That's all.
Yeah, man, it's fine. Like if we were comparing different eras, but we're just comparing one era. That's probably the
Even that's
issue
what
where,
my point
yeah,
is. I'm
that's
saying,
probably what Herm was saying. Like
no,
if it
no.
didn't benefit, everyone played by the same rules, basically.
That's not the point, brother. Again, you're not listening to the point. I'm saying, I guess they all play by the same rules, but Utah Jazz specifically and John Stockton, with his lack of even with his lack of playmaking, got those assists based off of those rules and based off of when other players in that era still drove and kicked and did other things to get their assists and created advantages, more so for their team than what I think John Stockton did.
Can you just
I
tell
mean,
me?
but what you
Can
think
you
is
give me a
wrong.
couple
That's the
players
problem.
who drove and kicked?
Well, how
You
is that
just
wrong? Explain how that is wrong, Billy.
because you're making baseless statements with no real proof. You're saying other players
How is
was
that no real
playmaking,
proof?
but John
I,
Stockton wasn't. Like what are you talking about?
I
What
just explained what I
who
was
are these
talking
players?
about.
Like no, you did not. That's the problem. You're just saying
Okay,
other
so
players did, and John Stockton only got his assists off of pick and rolls, and he
did I
couldn't do
say
nothing
only?
else.
See, there
I
we
mean,
go again.
that's just
Did I
ridiculous.
say
That's just
only?
ridiculous. That's just
T
ridiculous.
perfect. Did I say only?
I mean, you can say only, but you're also saying that. I mean,
That's
I
how
agree with Billy
y'all.
because you're saying that John Stockton, like most other players and distributors, were better at driving and kicking. John Stockton would do other. It sounds like you need to watch a lot of John
John
Stockton
Stockton did
tape too.
everything.
I
You didn't
watched
watch
John
none of
Stockton. We
John
can
Stockton.
go to any game. You
No, you
can go
didn't.
to any game. You can go to any game you want to. And if you understand how that game was played with the mid-range jump shooters, and it wasn't just Karl Malone. When you talk about a Thurl Bailey, and you talk about what's the other guy's name?
Byron Russell, Ryan
No,
Russell,
before Byron Russell.
Jeff Malone.
Jeff Malone. When you talk about those guys and
Adrian
their
Dantley.
ability, Danley was early, but when you talk about those guys and their ability to make 3-point shots, John Stockton was swinging to these balls to these guys, and they was just pulling up, knocking down 15-footers. It was no advantage created in a lot of those situations.
You still got to give them the ball in spots where
Exactly. And I said,
they're open.
see, again, y'all know, listen, bro, I said he was a very good distributor and ran the offense very well. I said that. And he gets credit for that.
In circles. First, you talk negative about him, and then you're trying to say you're not. That's the issue we're talking about. You can't say that he's not able to do something, but then again,
in the Twilight
he's able
Zone?
to do it. It doesn't make
This
any
nigga is
sense.
weird, bro.
Yeah, you're not making any sense.
I can't give him credit and say what makes him a top 10 player and then talk about his deficiencies. I can't do that.
That's not a deficiency, though.
I just want to know who the players
I said his
who drove.
deficiency.
I just want to know who the players who drove and kicked. That's what I just want to know.
Grant Hill was a great driving kicker.
Who was he
And
driving kicking
I
to?
wanted to ask, would y'all consider Grant Hill a better 90s player than Stockton?
Overall, no.
Not in the 90s. Not in the
Well,
90s.
let me tell you the case that I would make. He played only 6 years, right? Because he drafted in 94. But he doesn't have he has 4 top 10 MVP finishes, which is more than Stockton has for his career. He was all NBA 4 of those 6 years. Now, if you're gonna look, if you're gonna be fair and that really was his prime, because after 2000, we know the ankle injury and the bot surgeries, and he came back, a little too fast and all of that. But those 6 years, I would say, is better than Stockton's 10 years. And based on the fact that he was, rookie of the year, didn't make, but it's still an all-star. He was a 6-time all-star, and then he has 10 top MVP, and he has 4 top, all-NBA finishes, I believe, out of the 6 years. I mean, the way I'm looking at it, in 99, Stockton was 11-9, but made all-NBA team. With 11-9.
Grant Hill only played for about half the decade, dude. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. I just
Grant Hill
based my
never made
argument
out
of
the
the
first
fact that he only
round
has 6
in the
years.
90s. Come on, he never made out the first round in the 90s. Come on now.
But see, then you guys knocked Drexler, who led a team to the finals 2 of the first 3 years, and Stockton never led a team anywhere. I think one of the arguments Herm was trying to make is that you cannot draw up an offense around Stockton. And you could use
Not
him
at
as
all.
a tool
Not at all.
in the offense.
He was the offense. He was the offense. What are you talking about?
See, I think the offense was Malone.
He ran the offense. He's the point guard.
See,
This
he
makes
was
no
the
sense.
offense.
I think the
Derek
difference.
Fisher was the point guard. Was he the offense? Stop it, bro.
He was
Derek
a
Fisher,
tool in the offense. See, this,
John
I think
Stockton
that-
averaged 3 times as many assists as Derek Fisher.
You did not
3
make
times as
your
many
point right
assists.
there.
Derek
Stop
Fisher,
it.
0 All-NBA teams. John Stockton, 8
You said he
in the
was the
90s.
offense. He's
What
the
are you
point
talking
guard.
about?
Carl
You
Malone
said
was
he
the
was the
offense.
offense because he's the point guard, so he's knocking down that particular
He ran the
argument.
offense.
He did run the offense, but he was not the
He
offense.
ran the offense. He was a tool in the offense. The offense was Karl Malone. You
He was
designed that
the
offense
quarterback,
around Karl Malone.
holding the team.
Let me ask you this:
He made-
the Karl Malone played every game, but you think that they could have get to the playoffs without Karl Malone? And let's just say the backup, Thurl Bailey, it was Stockton and
Probably.
Bailey. You
Who
think they
knows?
would have been as
Probably.
successful?
We got to make
Probably.
scenario.
I don't know.
Probably.
And
We gotta
I like
make up scenarios
Bailey was a
because
good player too, but come on now.
crazy things.
Look, this is what I'm saying. I think y'all
all
don't
y'all got
see
is
the
crazy
difference.
theories.
Because Drexler was the focal point of 2 finals teams, the 2 of the first 3 years in the 90s, right? He led a team to the finals. Stockton never led. The best player on the team was Malone. We know that. Stockton was his Robin. Then y'all make the Kobe is Robin argument, which I knocked down in the debate where T Perfect watched me. Because T Perfect called you called Kobe a non-factor. And I did harp on that a little too long. But guess what? As I learned in 2001,
Hold up. K Speech, are you saying John Stockton not a top 10 player in the 90s?
I got 10 guys over him, and Grant Hill was one of them, and I just made an argument on that. See, now again, you wind up, when you do that, you wind up having 10 individual player debates. So I'm just trying to be consistent while I say Grant Hill was just a better player than Stockton. Like his MVP finishes, he was number 3 in MVP once. Stockton was never top 5 in MVP.
The 90s, not about 3 or 4 seasons.
Okay.
This is the entire 90s.
Okay, I get it, but then that means anybody that was drafted in the 90s don't even count. So I couldn't even compare Jason Kidd to him, right? When they played the same position.
He wasn't better than him in the 90s.
Look,
he only played half the 90s. How's
And
he
it
gonna
was
be?
six out of 10
How you
years.
gonna have 8 All NBA teams,
He
9
want
All
to he
lead
want to
the
make
whole decade in assists,
he
lead the
want to
whole
make the
decade
pool.
in
He want to
steals.
make the pool so small for John Stockton so he can get up
I
in
mean,
that
but
That's
top
what I'm saying.
10.
He's
you
That's
know what? You
playing
know
in
crazy.
what
the
we're doing
90s.
then.
This
You
is
know what
not
we're doing.
complete.
No, you know
You
what we're
gotta
doing
play.
then.
You gotta play all 10 years of the
This
'90s
is
in your
90s is
prime
Yeah,
not
to
complete.
be
basically,
to, like
and
John
that's it.
Stockton to
Yep.
be to
That's
be.
what you
You
talk
gotta play
about
all.
Dude,
You
percentage.
gotta play
otherwise,
all
otherwise,
10 of
This is
your
dude,
about an
prime years in the
average
'90s
point.
to be in this
if
conversation.
you're
You know
not
how to
playing the
average
majority of
point
the
when you talk
90s,
about the 90s. We're not talking
So
about
y'all,
2,
so y'all
3
don't
years of
think
the 90s.
Hakeem was a
The
better? Y'all
entire
don't think
90s.
Hakeem was a better player in the '90s than Stockton?
Of course they do.
I mean,
We
you can make
said King was.
Okay, so
Okay.
Robinson, Ewing,
David
Barkley, we
Robinson,
can all. Oh, yeah.
Charles
Yes.
Barkley.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So that's basically what you're breaking it down to. Guys that got
What
drafted
have
in the
these
late
other players
'80s.
done over John Stockton? You saying Grant Hill? What Grant Hill did better than John Stockton in the 90s?
Everything.
He never even made it
no,
out the
not
first
Everything.
everything.
round. He had
He
less
never.
All Stars, less All
Grant
He
NBA
never made
teams.
it out of the first round, but that's
Grant Hill wasn't a
contextualized.
better defender. He was a better scorer. That's really about it.
Just that's about it.
That's
That
about
really
it.
is about it. Why does he have more top? Why does he actually have a top 3 MVP finish?
He's a
And
better
LeBron
playmaker.
and
You know
Stockton never
better than
did.
that, King Speech, because he's everyone who was the alpha scorer on their team is going to get more MVP votes than the
Was
guy
But
who
who,
was a
this,
better
but
player?
quote
Hey,
unquote,
but real
this is
quick,
good
T perfect, T
to the
perfect. Who
argument.
was it? I'm gonna see where you at.
It
Who
gotta
was a
be
better
LeBron.
playmaker, John Stockton or Grant Hill?
better playmaker, John Stockton, dude. Of
Wow.
course, you're
No,
talking about
see, that's what
playmaking
y'all
for
don't
his.
understand the difference between distributor
What
and
do you mean by
playmaker.
playmaking?
You gotta
What
understand
do you
like
mean
where
by
you
See,
guys are coming
playmaking?
from.
Grant Hill
What
wasn't
do
the
you mean
point
by
guard.
playmaking?
He was the point forward. He was the off-ball playmaker. Like
You're talking
Lindsey
about
Hunter is the point guard. Joe
yeah.
Dumars is even shared in the point guard responsibility.
Okay, so dictating an offense to make it consistently great and running it for the better part of 18 years is far
Which
more
was
impressive than the guy who was, an explosive scorer for 4 years
I said a
and
but
playmaker.
played
that
I
still
didn't
and
say
played 80
distributor.
games only 3 times
Gotta
in his
let the
career.
man finish. Just like you didn't want nobody to cut you off, don't cut people off too, bro.
Well, they
Especially
cut me
when
off. You didn't say shit. Now, why you over
bro,
here
hey,
gatekeeping these
they
niggas?
let
Are they
you talk, bro.
quit
They let
holding their
you
hand,
cook.
bro?
They let you cook and didn't
no,
interrupt,
no.
bro.
Well, why
You
didn't you
been
say
too
that when I was
sensitive
cooking and they
out
was
here.
coming? Now
Let
you want to
people
come in on
talk,
me, bro? Stay on
bro.
the sideline if you're on the
Now we
sideline,
gotta
bro.
go tip and top. Come on,
Stay
don't
on the
do that,
sideline,
bro.
bro.
Bro,
Who's that
I ain't
talking
even
up on the
saying nothing,
sideline?
bro.
Who's
I'm
that
just saying
talking?
let the
Exactly.
man
So why you
finish.
saying something now?
I ain't even saying nothing. I just said let
Why
the
are you
man
saying
finish
something
and you
now?
For
getting
one
upset.
thing, John is the host of the show. So what are you talking
Huh?
about?
But
He's the
when
host.
y'all was cutting
well,
me off, he didn't say shit.
we did.
Everybody stopped and
I
let you
had to
Yeah,
fend
finish.
for
not
myself.
for
But now
one
when
thing.
he said,
Not
well, now,
your
now
show.
you need to be quiet. Come on,
It's
bro.
not your show, so it's fine.
It's not my show. You right. So y'all can cut me off,
It's
but I
not.
can't. Go
It's
ahead.
fine.
Go ahead then.
I don't like arguing
It's
with a
fine.
female, bro. I can't do that stuff, man. That's
You
why I
the
hate
one.
debates, bro.
That's
'Cause I
crazy.
So
don't
King,
like that
so
shit.
King
My
John,
Now
bad.
they'll be
I
calling
got an
people.
idea for a debate. Are you up for this? Non-championship team, your favorite team that didn't win a championship. They could be, conference finals losers or conference finalists that you think the best team you saw that didn't win a championship, and I pick mine. Because I mean, honestly, I think player debates are boring. I've been said this.
That's because you
It's
cook.
real boring. You lose them all.
They're boring when you're getting cooked like a rotisserie chicken, dude.
Bro, you again. You said Kobe was a non-factor in a series in a playoffs where he set the record for fourth quarter scoring. The right
So
there. I mean,
was
again,
that the same finals where he scored 15 points a game and Shaq was
no,
Shaq
well, I'm
was
talking
unanimous on the MVP?
2001 because you said both 2000 and 2001 he
No,
was a
I
non-factor.
said 2001 finals. He was a non-factor. In 2001, he was really good throughout the playoffs, and that's actually a key point that you're missing because no one's actually saying that Kobe was trash or garbage or anything like that or in the playoffs, and he was a definite contributor. No one's saying that Shaq goes to the finals without Kobe those years either. No one said that at all. I don't even infer that. But what you're saying is that 3 or 4 good series out of Kobe Bryant puts him is part of the reason why he's above LeBron when LeBron
And
outperformed
again,
Salmon.
okay, great, but you know what I didn't counter that? Of course, Shaq had the matchup: Old Mutombo, Todd McCullough.
That's not just he was better. He was better in the majority of their playoff series too
Okay,
against
but
people like
see,
Duncan
that's
and
the thing.
Robinson.
The fact that Shaq was better, I already conceded that. Shaq was the best player in the league those years. I said Kobe was second behind him. But again, you called them a non-factor because the numbers. Again, like I said, the point that I countered with is that yes, Kobe said it himself. Big man, I'm just gonna feed you and we're gonna win this ring. I don't care about the finals MVP. And y'all said again, Kobe didn't win in finals MVP to his 6th finals. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's circumstantial. So okay, you could say the same thing about Steph Curry. Does that knock him out of anything? Matter of fact, yes, Steph Curry in his last one, he finally won finals
In
MVP.
fact, that
Does
does
that take
factor into
away
Steph
from his
Curry not being a
greatness?
top. That does factor into Steph Curry not being a top 5 player of all time because exactly
Well,
for that same
I
reason.
don't have a top 5 any, but does that knock away from his greatness? Does that
Yes, it
knock
does.
away that he was the key part of 4 finals so let me tell you, the first 3 finals they won, was he not a key factor? Was he not probably, if not one, but number 2 in the finals runs and in the finals?
Yeah, and again, that's all. You're not making a point here, King Speech. What
That
you're
is making a
saying is
point because
what you're saying is
y'all
something
act
that
like
everyone
that's a
agreed was.
negative.
It's not a negative. It's just context as far as who was the best player on that team. Durant was definitively better than Curry in 17 and 18, and that does matter. That's why Curry only has 2 Finals MVPs or 1 rather.
So
And
does
so
that
yeah,
take the ring? But
all that matters
does
when
that
you're
take
not
the
the lead.
ring away?
When
T
you're
Perfect.
not
Does
the
that
lead
take the ring
dog,
away?
when you're not the lead dog in those finals runs, that does affect your place in the hierarchy, dude, for better or worse. It's not a knock on those players. It's just how it is. I'm not
Again, but see,
saying
you know what kills me though? You know what kills me when I brought up the Shaq Kobe interview? Again, Shaq completely said, "Look, I might have been the man in the finals, but there's no doubt we don't get there to the finals without you." And I
that's
think
not
y'all
a
don't seem
point.
to understand that.
What do you mean?
That's not really a good
That's not a
argument.
point
How
that
That's
means
that's
every
not
absolutely
a good
nothing.
point?
good
Wait
team.
a minute, how's
That's
that
every
not a
That
good
perfect
means
point?
team.
Kobe.
Because you're
That's
That's
every
not
I
a.
damn
don't
good
think
team.
y'all see. You know what? When I watched that interview, and I learned that those guys dominated that era, but neither one of them just came in there thinking, "Bro, we just got to show up and we're just going to kick everybody's ass." No, they had major battles in those Western Conference. So when Kobe was a main contributor in those Western Conferences, which actually were the tougher matchups, he had tougher matchups in the second round than especially in '02. He had a tougher matchup in the second round than the Nets gave him in the finals. Can we not agree on that?
Yeah, and Shaq was better than in those rounds too. The only one
Was
that
he?
Shaq was.
That's arguable. I think they were equally important. But again, when you say Shaq was better, okay, Shaq was the best player on the planet. I conceded that. But in Kobe, at age 22 and 23, was the second best player in that. And so saying Clyde Drexler, second best player in the world in 1992. That's by his runner-up MVP and getting a team to the finals that only lost to Jordan, playing amazing. That there was no point where Stockton was the second best player in the world. So I'm going to value a peak. I'm going to value the apex a little bit more. And again, Stockton was consistently good. And that's a great argument. If you like consistently good over great for a good 3, 4, 5 year period, then okay, then that's what you prefer. But I will prefer the guy because even in Drexler's go home year, his retirement year, he was 18, 6, and 5. And it wasn't like, you know, Drexler ever was a horrible player. Like he was still a good player contributing to a playoff
Okay,
team.
King Speech, was Magic Johnson a better player in the '90s than John Stockton?
No, okay, come on, bro. He played one. If you want to consider
Well,
90 and
who
91,
cares?
that's 2 seasons.
He finished top 3 in MVP voting both years.
Come
But,
on, T Perfect. You're gonna go to
bro,
an extreme, bro.
now see,
How
we
did
like
he
going
finish?
to an
He just said
extreme.
Grant Hill was
I at
better for the
least
same
hold
reason.
on. For argument's sake, sir, I at least gave a guy that played half the decade,
thank
6
you.
years
That's
of
not
the
the
decade,
same, T Perfect.
six
And then
versus
where do we
two.
draw the line? I mean, is it half the decade? Is it 3 years, 4 years? Like what?
Well, I
I'm
mean,
talking
yeah.
about a guy who
Let's just
was.
say, for argument's sake, then 6 years is
Hey,
the especially. Let me ask you.
King,
Let me ask you this.
King
Go
speech.
ahead.
You're
Mm-hmm.
saying that the of the MVP, since he was second in MVP votes, that makes him better. That doesn't make any
No,
sense.
what I'm saying is, see what I'm saying. This is the complexity of the argument. I'm just saying that proves at his peak. At his peak, Drexler was a better player
No one's
Stockton.
denying that, dude.
Because of his
Okay,
vote,
great.
because of
But then,
1 year vote,
again, huh? Say again.
because of 92 voting.
Okay,
Really?
92 voting. He
No,
led 2
because of
teams to
what
the
Grant Hill can
finals.
do on a basketball court as compared to John
We,
Stockton
Yeah,
we're talking about Clyde Drexler. I mean,
or
Grant
Clyde
Hill. It's
Drexler,
not even a question. But
right?
but he said the MVP votes, which he don't believe. So I don't even know why you brought that up because you don't
when
believe
I
that
just
would
say
make
I didn't
someone better
believe
than
in it, I
somebody.
just said it's one factor that I
Yeah.
look at.
Okay, you don't
I
believe
said
in that because
no
if that's the case,
again, as
if
I'm
that's the
telling you,
case, you would say Steve Nash is better than Kobe because he got more MVPs in the
which is a
2000s. That's
ridiculous argument.
not
Which
even
again is a
close.
ridiculous argument. But we know. But
Yeah,
see, here's
that's
the
not
thing:
close. That's
we're
what I'm
going to
saying.
put
Like
two
that's
players in
not a
that
good argument
context.
to even to
Steve
make.
Nash was consistently good. Kobe was at his apex, obviously the better player, right? So the 2 versus 1 MVP, again, this is why you have to look at a lot of things in your criteria because everything is not created equal.
Well, the
Every
MVP,
What,
player
the
doesn't have
MVP,
the
what
same.
was
the
Clyde
MVP,
Drexler
the
the best at in the
Say again.
90s? Like what was his thing in the 90s? What made him great in the 90s?
Well, again, but being one of the top 10 players, pretty much most of it. He led 2 teams to the finals. Stockton made but Stockton was not the leader. He was not the best player. He was obviously Malone won the MVP, right? So that would tell you that.
Yeah, he has 2 MVPs in the 90s.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Malone having the 2 MVPs, 99. That's the one. Yeah, the 99. And this is what I'm saying. Like Malone probably has more All
Okay, I'm
NBA,
talking.
right?
Okay, let's get back on topic.
You'll get
What
back.
made Clyde Drexler so great that he's a top 10 player in the 90s?
Again, leading 2 teams, the first 3 years of life, he led 2 teams to the finals.
Oh, that's all just leading 2 teams to the finals.
So
That's
Okay,
what
then he
Stockton,
won a
made him.
championship
That's
and see you guys now, because he was the second best player, you guys don't even want to count that. Again, that he
that's
has a
what you're
ring.
saying for John Stockton, though. You're double talking again. You're saying that for John
Um,
Stockton. You're saying that for John Stockton. How you talking about we're saying that? You're saying that.
okay, so he was the second. Okay, all right. So he's the second
Thanks,
best player
Herm.
on 2
Thanks,
runner-ups.
Herm.
John Stockton was the best player. I mean, Drexler was the best player on 2 runner-ups and the second best player on a winner. See, again, a winner versus runner-up. That's why I would love to have this. Who do because it's very easy to debate championship teams. So let's talk about teams that didn't win. Because I always feel like this, right? Take a team that didn't win a championship, maybe put them in another year, they might win the championship. They just ran into the better team, right? But again, you talk about 2 guys on runner-ups. I mean, like he was on 2 runner-ups that didn't win, and he was second best. Drexler was on 2. Matter of fact, he lost to Isaiah once and he lost to Jordan the other one. But then he was the second best player on a team that beat Shaq and Penny. Right? They swept Shaq and Penny on top of that. Does that count?
I mean, yes, it's counting.
Okay,
Clyde
so
was a great
again,
player.
it's not like I'm saying Stockton is a bum. None of us are saying
No,
Stockton is a
no,
bum.
not at
I was
all.
just saying like what made Clyde Drexler great, and only thing you can say that he played in 2 finals and won a title.
Oh
Like
no, I can say more than that. Again, I can say more
that's
than
what I
that. I
asked
got
you. That's what
okay.
I
All right,
asked you. Like you didn't
I
answer
got
the
6
question.
top 10. I probably got. I think I got. Let me look. I got to look at it again. I think he got 5 top 10
No, but you
MVP
talking about
finishes.
Clyde Drexler. Like what made you since you know Clyde Drexler, what made him great? That's all I want to know. Like you watching Clyde Drexler, you don't
Okay,
even
all right.
just
So
what made
now,
him great.
okay, great alpha scorer, great off the ball playmaker. Like he gets 5 to 6 assists without even handling the ball a lot. Good rebounder, good finisher, right? A pretty good 3-point shooter as well for the era. I mean, like what's not to like? He was he was considered the second best shooting guard of the era and of the 90s.
was he though?
Well,
I mean, you
arguable. I
got
mean,
Mitch Richmond in
who else you
there.
got? Mitch Richmond. He's better than Reggie Miller, right? Mitch
Yeah, I
Richmond
mean, he wasn't more
better.
consistent than Reggie Miller.
When was Drexler not good? Because you know what? Here's my thing about Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller doesn't have a stat outside of over 3 in any of his career. Like
Oh no,
when
no, that's my
Drexler
bad.
his go home
I thought
year
you were
got
talking
5
about Grant
assists.
Hill still.
Oh, I mean, come on again, Grant. Again, if you're gonna look at Grant Hill was just a better player than John Stockton. He's a better talent, right? And we're
That's
talking about the
varies.
best 6 years of his career, which was his first 6 years before the catastrophic injury robbed him of the rest of his career.
T Perfect, are you making an argument that Grant Hill was not a better basketball player than John Stockton
I'd say
without accolades and
I think there's exactly maybe one thing that he did better than John Stockton, and you're talking about he
just
wasn't
one
better.
thing? What thing was
He
that?
wasn't okay, so he wasn't better defensively. He was maybe as efficient. Although that's debatable. He was a better scorer than John Stockton, obviously, because he was taller, had more in his bag.
Better rebounder.
For his position, he wasn't a better rebounder either.
Really?
I
He averaged
mean,
10 rebounds almost
1 year he did
1
that.
year.
Yeah.
9.8. I think it was third
That was
year
a
in the
second
league.
year.
Second year. Okay, so second year player averaging 10 rebounds. He actually led the team in points, rebound, assists 3 times. Something that was almost never heard of.
Stockton was again, for being the second best guy, Stockton was consistently giving you, especially in his prime, from like 88 to like 95, he was consistently giving you, and plus he would play a hell of a lot more than Grant Hill too. Availability is the best ability, right? He was consistently giving you double figure assists, efficient scoring, again, top tier perimeter defense, especially for that age and that era. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was a better scorer than him, but there's no argument you can make other than that. Like, what else was he better at than Stockton definitively that you can prove?
T perfect. Grant Hill missed 17 games in his first 6 seasons, and 12 of those were in his rookie year.
Okay, yeah. And then he played 80 plus. He played 80 plus games his next 3 years. Then played 50. Then played 74.
Well,
And then
50
so basically for 6 years.
No, T perfect. 50 was a lockout short season, so everybody played 50.
So basically, for his first 6 years, he was great, and then you saw what happened. As you said, he was injury plagued.
That's the end of the 90s.
We're only looking at the 90s. See again.
Right.
See, you're trying to go after
exactly.
that.
No, we are looking at the 90s
in the
because
90s.
he only played again. That's why I'm discounting him because he only played half the decade, and you said that it doesn't matter because
Well,
he was still half the decade.
He was in college the first 4. I mean, it is.
So hold on real quick. So if Grant Hill got drafted to a pretty good team, led his team to 2 rings, you would still discount him as better than John Stockton because he only played 5 years?
Again, how are you defining? No, so I think we're defining like better as I need a guy who was consistently good each and every single year of the 90s.
So you need somebody that plays all 10 years of the 90s.
Preferably, at least the majority, like Shaq, like David Robinson.
Well,
like
6 years is the majority.
Is it the majority? Is it the whole? You said for every year?
No, I say the vast majority. If you want a guy who played 5 to 6 years, and you think that guy's okay because he played that, he's better than this guy. But we're looking at things like throughout the whole 90s, right? More NBA selections, more seasonal titles.
Oh, wow.
We had 8 straight selections.
Of course, you're going to get this. See, you're not using the thing that the 10 years gives
you got it. Then if that's your argument and your criteria, then you got it.
Let me ask you, again, it didn't happen.
This is a top 10 of the 90s.
Okay, again, but T-Perfect.
You're acting like that doesn't matter.
What if somebody was drafted in 93 and won 3 MVPs in the 7 years that they played? That didn't happen, so we can't say that?
No, you definitely can say that because I said, for example, I said Shaq and David Robinson
were. You would take a 3-time MVP over Stockton's 10 years consistency.
No, I said I said that guys like David Robinson, Shaq, Michael Jordan, who played the vast majority of the 90s.
Yeah, so Jordan,
and they all had
7, 8
they
years,
were better, and they were just by far the lead dogs of their team. They were way better statistically. They had more accolades and achievements. Of course, there's no argument for Stockton above them, but someone like Grant Hill, that's a bit of a stretch, especially when you look at. Like seasonal titles, never had any, right? He never led league anything. Stockton was leading the league in assists almost every single year. He was efficient scoring. The only knock against Stockton was you
just killed LeBron because LeBron has only 2 times leading the league in anything, right? Unless you want to count field goals made.
That's not a knock against LeBron at all because
LeBron based on that same criteria. Y'all do that a lot, so I'm gonna do that to y'all.
We're talking about
making 0 sense.
How was that making 0 sense? Because you just said, like, we noted Stockton is going to have more assist titles than Grant Hill. He's the point guard.
Okay. Okay. So we're talking about
what did Grant Hill do better than John Stockton? Let's keep it at that.
Dunk, score, actually have a team built around him. Again, the Pistons were about to go ahead.
It don't matter.
Say again.
He said dunk.
Grant Hill never made it out the first round, so it don't matter about the team being built around him. He couldn't get him out the first round.
Okay, so he never made it out the first round. Okay, you're right. He had Joe Dumars, the aging Joe Dumars, as his next best player. You know, had Barry Sanders syndrome.
It doesn't matter what they built around him. He couldn't get him out the first round.
Are you serious? Are you using that as a LeBron fan? You using that as a criteria?
They're using this. I mean, it is what it is.
About
What
the
can I tell
90s,
You
you?
talking
you
about
have to bring up
you talking
LeBron.
about they build a team around. That's why he's better, but he never got him out the
They
first
didn't
round.
build a good team around
That
him.
should be
They
a
didn't
negative
build a
then.
good team around him, sir. Like again, you know what? If we're gonna
No,
look at
not
context, if we're gonna look
not
at
that he didn't make
context,
it far. Not that he didn't make it far. He never made it out the first round with the Pistons.
again,
Never,
if we're
not
gonna
once.
look at context, Grant Hill as a
Here we
rookie
go.
was this was a team that was designed to be rebuilding
How
for
many
the, like
times did
two or
the
three
Jazz
years.
lose in the first round in the 90s?
Oh, they did a lot, but you know they don't want to
They
count
made it
that.
to the finals twice. Grant
With a
Hill never
far
made it
better
out the first
team?
round. What
With a,
part don't you
I
understand?
mean,
He
what I
never
mean,
made it
if
out the
we put
first
a
round.
team with
That's not a
Malone and Grant
positive
Hill.
for Grant Hill. That's not a positive for Grant. That's a positive for John
Okay,
Stockton.
so all right, I'll eat the negative. He never made it out the first round. Again, then I'm going to look at individual. As an individual player, he has
Uh-huh.
more top 10 MVP finishes in those 6 years than Stockton has for his 20-year
Okay,
career.
as an individual player in the 90s, John Stockton has 8 All NBA teams compared to Grant Hill's 4. As an
Great.
individual player,
But
as an individual
he
player,
has one averaging
John
11 and
Stockton has
9.
9 All Stars. As an individual player, John Stockton has 7 assist titles. As an individual player, John Stockton has the most assists in the 90s, the most steals in the 90s. As an individual player,
All
what
Great.
facts.
Grant
All
Hill?
great
All facts.
accolades.
All facts. All facts.
All great accolades. But see,
Right.
you're taking 10 years, and I'm just trying to make an argument of the 6 for over 10. You're taking,
There is no argument for that.
Not the argument. It's not a 60. It's a 90s argument. It's the decade of the 90s. That's the
so
problem. It's the decade of the
I
90s.
mean, look, I'll take out then if you're gonna, because again, you guys show that you value longevity. Because even with
It's not
Drexler
longevity. It's
playing
the
9
Longevity is
Magic.
years in
10
a
years,
That's
decade.
dude.
longevity. That's
Say
like
again.
saying Kevin Durant is better than Allen Iverson, but Allen Iverson in the 2000 to 2010 was better than Kevin Durant because he played the whole 90s. He got accolades in those 10 years. I mean, not the 90s, but the 2000s. He got those accolades from 2000 to 2010. Kevin Durant did.
Then
He
you're
barely played
comparing 10 years
himself.
before. But you're comparing 10
That's
years before, which
that's
is
what I'm saying.
absolutely stupid.
You can't put
But
Kevin
at least
Durant over Allen
yeah,
Iverson in the
but hold on,
2000s.
I at least took somebody that had a wonderful, and everybody can say Grant Hill. Let's put it this way: of the 10 years, of the 6 years, Grant Hill was consistently a top 10 player. Am I capping to say that of those 6 years he was definitely a top 10 player? All 6 of those
Over
years?
6 years?
Maybe not
No,
his
no.
Maybe
rookie
not the
year.
rookie year, and he was
He
amazing
was
rookie year.
4-time All NBA team in the 90s. It's impossible.
4 out of 6 though. Again, let's do ratios
Four
because we're
out of
being fair.
10. 4 out of 10 years. 4 years. So he was not a top 10
Nope.
player for 6
So
years in the
outside of the
90s.
rookie
He just
year,
wasn't.
which year was the one he wasn't?
All NBA 15 players,
Probably
right?
one of the years he got hurt.
Brandon.
Well, he
All
didn't.
NBA
Again,
is
as we
15,
already
right?
established, he didn't get hurt until 2000 when he broke the ankle and tried to play on it, and that's what robbed him of the rest of his career.
I watched that series.
I mean, he came in 95, didn't he?
94.
94, 95 season, right?
Yeah, 95.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just giving him 6 years in a decade. Unless y'all say 99, 2000 don't count, okay, then we can take that one out and just say the 5 years. Because
Yeah,
I would
Grant
give
Hill just
I would
doesn't
give
have
Stockton.
enough to compete versus Stockton in the 90s. That's all we're saying.
So,
We're not
King
saying that
Speech,
Okay,
here's
all
why.
right. I just
He's more
asked the
talented.
question.
Grant Hill's more talented. He's more talented. Like no
Well,
one was
here's
saying
why.
he's not.
King Speech. See, this should end up forget here. Okay, so the argument is who basically who wasn't like who wouldn't win a one-on-one battle, right? Okay, but we're
No,
talking
of
about the
course not.
players who accomplished the most and who were the greatest players in the 90s. Grant Hill was great, fantastic for 3 years, arguably 4, right? But he
Okay,
wasn't one of those guys who piled up the things that mattered in the 90s, which again actually defines him. Finals appearances, being consistently great as far as your accolades and achievements go. Stockton was. Again, the assist titles matters because he was the guy leading the league in assists. All these things make him a top 10 player in the 90s. There's no claim that you can make that say Grant Hill, because his resume doesn't stack up to the 90s. If you want to say that he was a better so-and-so than Stockton, fine, whatever. But that doesn't make him a better overall player for that span of time.
I
That's
don't
what
have.
we're
I
arguing.
don't. In fairness, I don't have Grant Hill over John Stockton for the
Nobody
90s.
smart does.
Yeah, but where do you have a player like Michael Jordan in the 80s? Is he a top 10 player of the 80s?
Jordan definitely a top 10 player in the 80s. That's
Okay.
He only
You
played
have to
5
put him in
He
years.
only
top 10
played. He
player of
only
the 80s
played 6
because he
years.
has the
All
MVPs.
He
Six,
only played 6 years.
and
He
one
didn't
was
make it
injured.
out the first round
One,
three. That
it
just
was
defeated
five
y'all
years
whole
because one
argument.
was injured. He was injured the whole year.
Okay,
Yep.
so here's the difference between someone like someone like Grant Hill and Michael Jordan.
Multiple MVPs.
Multiple MVPs, DPOY, scoring titles. So basically, he came in and was automatically
yeah.
the best player for 5 years.
Okay,
That wasn't Grant
All
Hill.
I
NBA
was just
coach
pushing
team,
Okay.
all
back on the
NBA,
five
all
year
Okay.
point
defensive
because
first team.
Okay. Yeah. Because
I was just pushing back on the 5 year point because I said if Grant Hill led his team to championships and all that, you was like no because he only played 5 years. So,
Oh no.
but then you
If
got
he led his team to championships and was the undisputed best player, of
okay. Maybe you
course.
didn't hear me. Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
was
have
just
to
trying to get
accomplish more.
clarification. So
That's,
Michael
yeah,
Jordan is
you have to
definitely a
accomplish more.
top 5 player
Yeah.
of the 80s.
I don't
oh,
think he was top
and
five.
as I look at
You
the
want to say top
accolades,
5?
No, not top five. When they did the all 80s team, Jordan was second team.
okay, that's
Well,
cool.
that's positional. That's positional, brother.
And who
I
they
don't think he
put
was
on
top.
the
I don't
first?
think he was top five in the 80s.
You don't think he's top 5 at 80s?
No, I think he's top 10 in the 80s. I don't think he's top five.
That's an argument. I'm not going to sit back and push back on you on it. I would only have, Kareem,
Who
obviously
do you have?
Magic, obviously Bird.
If you got him top five,
Magic
what number
Bird.
you got him at? 5, 4?
I would have him definitely around that 5 area.
I mean, who you put above him? I mean, you can realistically put like Dr. J, maybe Bird and Magic above him, but I mean, you can't put Kareem above. I mean, I don't know. It's
Would
just
you put Isaiah Thomas above him?
no. But here's the thing that like there were a lot of great players who played the entirety of the '80s too. Like Kareem, Magic did. Moses Malone was playing the majority of it. Like a lot of these players, Alex English was there.
Alex
Like
English.
a lot of these
Um,
players were playing the majority of it, but Jordan just came in with such a flourish. I mean, if we're just talking length of time, I don't see how you can put him above Magic or Bird just because of their impact. But if we're just talking dominance, then I mean,
I think Jordan is the extreme. I think
yeah,
you have outliers
that's
and
true.
anything, and I think Jordan is an outlier. So if you got him
that's
top
fair.
five, guess what? If you got him top five, I wouldn't even argue with you. I just say I don't have him top five. That's all I
I
would
got
say.
you.
I wouldn't even argue.
Okay,
with you.
that's fair.
That's
That's
fair.
fair.
That's fair. Yeah. I was
I'm
just
just gonna
trying
say
to see
this.
where they was at with it.
I'm just gonna say this to get right. If you made a criteria top 10 MVP finishes for the '90s, Grant Hill has 5 top 10 MVP finishes. Stockton
Top
has
10.
1.
Wake me up when it's top 5. That's all
I
that
think
matters.
Grant Hill.
Okay, so then Grant Hill has
Top 10
1
is
where
crazy. Top 10 is
Stockton
crazy.
never finished higher than 7th for MVP in his
You
whole
give me
career.
Antonio McDyess over Grant Hill.
Okay, you want to take Tony McDyess? I mean, again, another guy that started in '95, right?
The
So
GOAT.
I really do. Grant Hill time was starting in 2000. I think he was going to extend starting in 2000.
of course, oh yeah, here's a guy that was because of a bad surgery and a bad decision.
He should not have came back. He should not have came back.
Yeah,
Grant Hill's the biggest
he
what
should
if
have
of all
never played
time.
on that ankle.
Yeah,
I'm a big Grant Hill fan. He should have never played on that ankle. He should have
Dude,
just
give me Tracy McGrady over LeBron James.
I believe sometimes teams need to protect your best players, and I think Detroit
What?
protected Grant Hill. Just like I believe Golden State should have protected Kevin Durant in 19.
Yeah.
Don't
You're right.
I mean, it's the same thing with Penny.
Hold on, Tyson. Let me get your take on this. What is
these players sometimes?
Who's your top 5 of all time, Tyson? I want to see if King's Speech kills himself right here.
Oh man, my top 10. You said top 5 all time?
Top 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. And y'all know I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm going MJ. I'm going LeBron. I'm not a 60s guy, so
that's fine.
There we go.
Forgive me on that. I'm not putting
I don't rank them either, dude, just because
those guys in. I just didn't watch enough basketball in that area.
That's fine.
It's not fair to them. To me, Kareem. Then I'm gonna go. See, I like Elijah. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I said Kareem. Then I'm gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna go. Tim. Then Elijah.
That's the exact top 5 I have.
Yeah.
I thought you was gonna say Magic. I knew you
No,
was gonna
I
say
got
Nope,
Magic at
no
the bottom
Magic.
of my list. I
Where do you put
appreciate
Kobe?
What about Bird? What about Bird?
Bird is at the bottom of my top 10 in the 10,
they
10
No,
they
I got
range.
Kobe at 10.
wait a minute. They about
I got
7-8.
Kobe at like 7, around
Okay.
in there, 7,
Is,
8.
King's Speech had him
hey,
at 7. King's Speech had him at 7.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
know, here's
LeBron
the
at
thing: when
LeBron
you
at
say
8.
King Speech had him at 7, King Speech put the 260s guys in my top. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, and again, y'all. So that means y'all believe y'all have the greatest of the modern era. Y'all don't have the greatest of all time. Oh, because
No,
all
well,
I
he
time
said
means
has
I
all
don't
time.
LeBron as
rank
the greatest
them.
of all time.
No,
I
I
He
don't
don't
has
rank.
rank
LeBron as the
them,
greatest of
bro.
all
I
time.
can't rank like I get
Not
going back and watching 2 or 3 games. I just don't feel people watching enough games to sit up here and really give a
yeah,
without looking at basketball reference. How you really gonna give a
Well, here's the thing.
uh,
I don't rank them either because regardless of that, it's like so many of the things that we use to grade players now weren't available then. Like so many
mm-hmm.
stats and awards, you can't do it without saying because it's all a big what if game. I've always said that if all the stats and awards were available for Bill and Wilt, they would be the goats, undisputable. Like Bill would
true,
have like 12 DPOYs. It wouldn't be
true,
fair. It's like he would
true.
be the
Yeah, I
goat.
got
You
you.
couldn't touch it.
and I
But
always
I mean,
respect
like
somebody who say,
we speak about these guys, but we don't know nothing about these guys they were playing with, playing against. You guys don't know nothing about these guys. But I'm not
I know.
speaking to
See, that's the
everybody.
thing. Me,
I'm not speaking to everybody, but I'm
No,
speaking to.
I went to every Bill Russell game though.
no,
Okay, cool. That's not. I said
yeah.
I'm not speaking to
hey,
everybody, but
no,
the most people that had these guys on their top 10s and stuff are just looking. Y'all don't know nothing about these guys' competition. You don't know what their competition was good at, what kind of defenders they were, how they
I
defended
do.
in the post, how they
I do
defended on
because
the.
Google is
You
free.
don't know nothing
You
about
weren't
these
there, King's
players.
Speech.
Y'all
Shut up.
just know
No, it's
Wilt
not
and
that.
Bill. That's
Okay,
all
so
y'all
again,
know.
I wasn't there, but Google is free. And again, I get it. You didn't
teams
watch it.
were
Like I
going
didn't
out of
watch Dr.
business.
J, but I can tell you
Teams
about
were
Dr.
going out
J's
of business
greatness.
in the middle of the season. Teams was
No,
literally going out of
Dr. J is
business
a
in the
little
middle of the
different because
season.
you got a
Yes,
lot more film on Dr. J,
and that was
a lot more
challenges
stuff
of the
to
game,
watch.
though, King John. That was
Huh?
yeah. Uh,
So I get his point when he
Wilt
said
lost
he
his
didn't
best,
see them
second, and
play.
third best player early in his career
I
because they
respect him
went out of.
because he said I didn't see them play, so I can't put him in there. I always respect somebody who said I didn't see Bill Russell in them play. So how can he just jump somebody like Bill Russell in there when he's saying I didn't
Right.
see? I don't have
But
Y'all
enough
you
don't.
got,
information.
you know what it
You're,
is. You look at
hold on, real quick.
context. Go
Real
ahead.
quick. We look at these players and we look at their greatness and we talk about moments. We talk about what happened in the game. We talk about how the game was played. Like they went on a run and then Kobe came back and hit this many threes and did this to speak to Kobe's greatness. We don't have that information for these players. We don't have the regular season stuff that they did on a nightly basis and how the game flow was going and all this stuff to how we put these
Yeah.
players above other players. If you just want to go to Basketball Reference and type in Google and see, oh, he did this well, he did that well. That's cool, but we don't have them. We just don't have enough information as far as just visibly being able to watch regular season games and those type of things. When we can do that with most of these other players, you know what I'm saying? So how can you sit up there and say this guy is great when
And
we
I
don't
was
know
Bill
how they
Russell's
scored their
trainer.
points? What was the situation when they scored? Was that game a blowout when he dropped 100, or was it? Was the
I think
other team even playing? We can't watch no film. We don't even know what was going on.
But hold on. I could tell you one thing. Again, I listened to the old heads. Bill Russell played in like 7 close game sevens in his like 11 finals, right? Or 12 finals. He played in a bunch of a series that came out of game 7. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the old heads. I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to listen to what Gail Goodrich or Bob Cousy. Bob Cousy's still around.
That's
If
why your
somebody got
top
a
10.
chance,
That's why
huh?
your top 10 messed up now. Listening to them old heads, bro.
But see, that's and that's the thing. That's
I'm
the
just
thing,
messing
right?
with you. I don't even know your top 10.
At some point, somebody's gonna call you the old head, and they're gonna listen to you about LeBron. They're gonna listen
But
to you
but
about Kobe.
again, but again,
It's part of it.
in fairness, my talk is gonna be backed up by YouTube and all this
Yes,
other stuff,
yeah.
and I can
And
go
again,
say,
but sir, all of this is on YouTube, sir.
I can go tell them watch this game, bruh. Go see
Well,
what
here's the thing, also,
LeBron
Tyson,
did.
is that
Go,
I'm
go
gonna
go
agree
watch
with Willie.
LeBron score that last 25 points against Detroit. You can go
Detroit, yeah.
watch that. I
Here's
can't
the
go
thing, though,
watch Wilt
Tyson.
do that, bro.
I'm gonna agree with Willie's sermons on this, just because the reason why I say it's theoretical and they would be the goats to me is because things like their competition does not matter, because it's not like they were dropped from a future era into this league or vice versa, and they had advantages that other players around. Everyone from every single era, every single day faces the same or has the same advantages and disadvantages. It's what you do with that. And Bill Russell and guys like Wilt were just better. And so like it's tough to say,
I
oh,
agree.
they didn't play with these
And,
guys
and,
or
and let's
they
keep it
played
real.
this.
They had great competition.
Sure.
Great.
And like everybody played against the best of
Who?
their time in their era. That's all you can say about it. That's why the
Wait.
competition argument
I need to
means
know the
nothing.
name. I need to know the names of these centers that you say were great
Walt
competition
They had
and
Bellamy,
like
Walt
what they
Bellamy,
did
Nate
well.
Thurman,
Bellamy. They had
Terry
like
Lucas. So
Mikan
if
was there, not against obviously Wilt and
no,
Bill,
Mike
but
never
like
played
you
against
had
Russell.
or Russell rather, but you had like
And
you
was he
had
guarding well? I get what you're saying, and we can all go on Google and look at the names and what they did. But again, how was they guarding them? What was it? Were they bringing double teams? Was they doing this? Was they doing? We just don't have enough
We get
video
it.
evidence.
We get it. But here's the thing, sir. All we know is that a Hall of Famer was across from Bill Russell about 60% of his games. And you come in today's era, a Hall of Famer is not playing against Joel Embiid 60% of his games. You understand
No,
what I'm saying?
that's
So
fine.
that's a little bit of context.
I get you. I get what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're
And
saying.
then
Don't get me
think
wrong.
about this.
And
You're
that's
gonna see
your
no,
opinion on it.
and again, I just consider all of this because again, Russell and Chamberlain are gonna see each other 9-10 times,
For
right?
sure,
A season.
for sure.
Meanwhile, LeBron and again, I'm not trying to knock either guy, but LeBron and KD didn't see each other for 4 years based on injuries, whatever. But that's just those are just facts. So again, if
For
you're
sure.
going to look at, if I'm going to consider Eric, then I'm going to consider things like it's still racism. It was again that's outside of the game. So I try to throw that away. But then I'm going to realize I'm not going to knock a guy who was playing in a city, winning championship for a city where they were burning crosses on his thing. So I'm going to actually then go back and look and see and research as much as I can because it can be done. It's all on Google. On Netflix. Go watch the Netflix Bill Russell documentary. Go watch the history of Celtics Lakers.
Those are accounts of what happened.
You're right, but at the end of the day, that's all we have. Look, go back.
Right.
If we have accounts for Jordan,
But we
it's
are
now 23 years.
again we arguing over who's the best player right now when we have the video evidence. You feel me?
You're right.
So how
But
can
okay? Then by the same
but
token,
and
how
again
much
I respect
video
so
evidence we have in the 70s?
when I'm trying okay, I got you. When I'm trying to break down the player and these things, I respect the game more than to just go to a box score and say blah 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 or read or read the. If I didn't watch the game, I'm not going to comment off the game based off the box score. You feel me? I didn't watch the game.
It's
I
hard.
can't really speak to what happened. So again, if you respect the game and respect analyzing the sport, then you have to watch the game.
That's true. And that's why I'll say a lot of people's GOAT list is the greatest I've ever seen. It's not the greatest of all time. So then let's stop saying GOAT because all time means all time. Right?
Okay, that's fair.
If I'm going to look at the greatest I've ever seen, then I'm not. And when I say I look at their whole career, then my top two, the players that I saw from the rookie year to their retirement, then my top two is Kobe and LeBron. Because everybody else, I didn't see the beginning of their career. I can only go back and then look at accounts. I can only look at accounts from I was a baby when Magic Johnson was a rookie, and I'm 46.
I was 76 when he was a rookie.
Say again.
I was 76 years old. Yeah.
Bro, yeah, listen, salute, bro. You aged very well, T. Travis.
Thanks.
I respect Tyson when he said he don't got the context with these players, so
I understand.
He won't throw them in there. And you saying you got it, so I mean, maybe you can get him the information that he might not have. I don't think you should kill him for not putting them in there.
Oh no, I don't. I don't kill him. I don't kill him.
This my top 5 that I seen and that I can understand that I can get the information from and I can get the context for all these players. And I respect it to the T.
But that's why I said most people, unless you are Bob Cousy, who still has his scruples, unless you're Hubie Brown, those are only two people that should be making GOAT lists anyway, because they don't want to see what they were here for most of it. Hubie Brown and Bob Cousy. Other than that, nobody has a GOAT list, right? Is that fair to say? You have a greatest I've ever seen. And
Yeah,
that's
I
fair.
understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I
Yeah.
get that.
I mean, because
Yeah.
again, one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna respect the fact that we wouldn't have a league. If it wasn't for Russell and Chamberlain, the
No,
league would have went
everybody
out of
should respect
business.
that. Everybody
Oh, I
should
respect
respect
the
that.
hell out of that. Yeah, for sure.
I
Yeah,
Everybody
think
we
we're all
should
wouldn't
making
have a
respect
league.
great
Like
points.
if you know the history, you understand that NBA
No,
struggled. They
they
struggled to
don't
make
have
that a sport.
me
Like they
leaving them
didn't
out.
want to,
Me leaving them out of the top 10 is respect for them, not
Gotcha.
disrespect.
So,
You
so
know what I'm
you
saying? Is
basically
respect for
have them
them.
that you know that they were great
Right,
for their
right.
era, and it's an asterisk there. Yeah, I got you.
I know they're great players, but I didn't watch them, so I'm not gonna disrespect their game by making a judgment on them when I didn't even get to see it.
When
And there's no
when I
way I
see
could see it.
again, when I see what Wilt was physically, and when I see him
Excellent.
like lapping people down the court at that size and that strength and that ability, I just can't ignore it. Like, and when I saw him,
So why don't you have him one?
why I don't have him one is
Yeah.
because he did not dominate the league in terms of winning
He did
championships.
that. I mean,
What?
champion.
He
He's
would
that too.
okay.
But
He has
his
two
numbers
championships
and
on
what you
dominant
just
teams.
said, the way he dominated, they changed rules before he came into the
You're
league
right. You're
because he
right.
dominated so hard. So, I mean,
Now
if
you
I
want
listen to your argument for Wilt, you literally should have him one.
now
Or
again.
Bill.
You know what I will say to that? He is my number two. And I said he makes the best argument for anybody I've ever heard why Michael Jordan isn't the GOAT. And he made it to
Not Bill
Michael
Russell.
Jordan's face. Hold on, he made it to Michael
No,
Jordan's face 2 years before he passed.
6 is better than 11.
Say again?
You make the argument that 6 is better than 11.
Again, I'm gonna put Russell's 11, who is my number 3, in context. I'm gonna put Russell's 11.
You can't
Again,
put 11
Russell
in
came to a
context
team.
with 6. You can't put
Say
11
again?
in context with 6. If Jordan had 8,
See again,
I
you're
can respect
now
it.
thinking that I have a singular rings is all that matters argument. Everything matters in my criteria, not just one or two things.
What I do is the Jordan 30 points per game, I equal it with Russell's 25 rebounds per game.
Cool. And that's Russ, like, how can you deny a guy that got 24? And it was pace and error. Well, why didn't another guy get 15? Like, you know what I'm saying? And Walt Bellamy, again, one of Will's competition, was a hell of a player. Could have played in any era. Jerry Lucas was a power forward. I seen Willis Reed was such a physical beast. I seen the dude wash the entire Lakers bench in a fight. Like, that dude was was a monster as well. These are the guys that you have to see on them every night. And you gotta take that into, at certain points in his career. You know what I mean? But you gotta take that into account.
You don't even have the evidence, the visual evidence for most of those. I mean, you don't even have the visual evidence for a lot of these 90s games. When y'all sitting here arguing for certain things with certain players in the 90s, you don't really have the visual evidence, enough visual evidence for that.
So
because
you're right.
when I
you're right.
when I argue with people with Michael Jordan, most of the time you only can argue with me from 96 up, because that's when WGN became a national TV, so you can watch the games.
Well, we had WGN and cable packages back in the early 90s. I remember watching Cubs games, all that. I get it. But see, wait a minute. But to that argument.
I hate when people lie. That's the one thing I hate.
Really? Am I lying? I'm going to tell you that I didn't have WGN on cable in the early 90s.
Local channel, and people did not have them in the early 90s. I even called the check. Nobody had WGN in the early 90s. It was called Super WGN when it came on cable. When people got it.
So, but even with that, I've seen y'all made that argument. Are you watching every team 82 games?
No.
Okay, so we're only looking at a handful of games anyway. I only need to see a team play 4 or 5 times.
Stop it.
Games. We can't
4 or 5 times.
You have to get like 5 games that you get to watch. In like
as I say, I can look at a team 4 or 5 times and get an idea of how they play basketball. I don't have to watch every
idea
single
how
game.
they play basketball, but you can't make an assessment on a player in 4 or 5 games.
And that's what they're doing. They make an assessment of 4 or 5 games they got to watch.
Okay, most of us got to watch at least 20, 25 big-time Jordan matchups a year.
Well,
and you're watching the playoffs. You're watching every game in the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, those are the most important, right? So you're gonna.
Those are the most important to me.
Hey, Tyson, how old are you?
I'm 43.
43.
Ooh, Sam.
What was your basketball knowledge at 40? I mean, at 12.
Well, that's
Yesterday.
my point. That's my point. I'm not saying in that moment I was breaking down Michael Jordan and his game. I was oohing and ahhing at what he did. I
And
didn't understand defenses.
now I
I didn't
want you,
understand.
now I want you to be 100 with me.
Right.
During those years in '92,
No camera.
how available was your TV to even watch?
Oh shoot, I don't even remember. I remember watching mostly. I remember I'm from LA. I remember watching mostly Laker games. In that era, my dad was a huge Showtime Laker fan. Blah blah blah. So yes, I remember watching those games almost, regularly. We watching. That's the thing. He get his MGD and watch the Laker game. You feel me? And we right there watching his kids. But
I respect that to the T, and that's my
right.
point.
But no. But my thing is, as remembering what Michael Jordan was, and how my dad hated Michael Jordan, and my brother loved my older brother loved Michael Jordan, and we sitting there watching the games, blah blah blah. But you can go back though, and no, you can't watch 82 games, obviously, but you can really watch these games and watch the games that we talk about it, our nostalgia, and see what really happened in these games, and really see what happened in a lot of these playoff games, and how Jordan, stopped runs and started runs and all the things, great things he did as a basketball player. So we can go back and actually visualize those things. So yeah, we didn't watch 82 games, and we didn't see every, we only saw a handful of games, but we can really go back and no, we can't watch 82, but we can get a very good understanding of who Michael Jordan was and what he was to basketball.
For example, in '88, when they was pulling up that defensive player of the year stuff, they
right, you can go back and
exactly VHS tapes.
It was 6 games that they can even get.
They can only get 6 in the 80s.
6
right
games.
But at least they can go get those and point to a specific game and say, okay, Jordan did this, but they say he did that. And I don't get into all that, that steals whatever, that stuff. Michael Jordan is a great defender, blah blah blah. Is he tad bit overrated? Some people gonna say he is, some people gonna say he ain't, whatever. But at the same time, he was a great defender without question. But yeah, but you can go back. At least you can go back and see that game where people talking about they lied on his stats. At least you can watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they do have. Let's be fair. They do have a few full games of the '60s. A few. Again, only a few. Again, and this is
we talking about getting 6 games from the '80s. How many games can you get of who you say? Who's the other guy you say? Not even Wilt. Who's the other guy you said? Will Bellamy.
Russell.
How many Will Bellamy
Russell.
games can you go search out?
And that's why I was taking. That was my point to you. It was just like, you can't even get, if you can barely get this amount of games in the '80s and '90s. What evidence? What context do we have in any game in the 50s?
Right. So we judging how good of a player Will Bellamy is off of 2 games.
Yes. And that was my point. That's why I said I respected you saying that.
Right.
You don't put him in your top 10, top 5 because you didn't see him. It's not enough context. You have to read these newspapers from back then to really get the evidence that you're trying to look for.
And they writing it through a certain lens. Are they homers? Are they you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they writing it through a certain lens. They go just like a lot of LeBron haters talking about LeBron. The media protects him. You don't think certain homers at that time was protecting some of the bad shit Wilt did in the game or whatever when they writing up these newspaper articles? So that's all my point. But anyway, fellas, I gotta go, man. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate the conversation. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'll try to come back on and chop it up with you guys. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Hey, great takes, man. Good to have you.
Yes, sir.
P-Purple, you willing to ask me something?
I was just gonna say that. What if I told you Kobe was the most overrated defender of all time?
For most of the time, I would agree with you, but then I've seen him lock in, like just like the LeBron could lock in and be amazing and be like the Terminator. So,
we gotta let Travis go to bed, bro, because we gotta get up early tomorrow for go.
Oh, no doubt.
That's true. I overslept the other day. It's crazy.
What time is it in Hawaii?
Right now it is like 6 o'clock here.
Oh, okay, 6-hour difference. That's not that. That's not that bad.
You guys are up late as hell right now. So
midnight here.
It's 11
Well,
o'clock here in Chicago.
yeah, so we gotta like. So that
So
wraps up, guys, on their episode of the Radar. We had great guests in here. Obviously, we had Tyson and Kings Beach in here chopping it up. These, see, no matter what we say to these guys or what we think about their viewpoints, guys, at least these are two of the people who consistently come up, give us content, chop it up with us, who aren't afraid to hit the link, which is more than we can say for a lot of those people. So please don't be that. Please come up and follow their example and interact with us. You can have whatever viewpoint we want. This is more of a diverse viewpoint, not necessarily just glazed LeBron all day show. We try to have a lot of different viewpoints here, and we're gonna have some more once we get the topic and whatever for next week. And so this was episode 2 though of the great debate night, and Brandon took episode 2. I'd say pretty convincingly. So convincingly there. So
Quick cut. I
yeah.
don't even want to hear shit.
Yeah, everybody, shout out to everyone, and yeah, any last words, gentlemen?
Hey, see y'all guys tomorrow.
Yeah, bright and early, people.
all right, guys.
Full for
Have a
me.
good one.
Yeah. All right. See
All right.
everybody tomorrow.
Peace out.
All right.